dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up the dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets sniffed nose, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Mistos, causing chaos and play up Calypso. I paused in kitchens and caused addictions. I paused prescriptions and caused inflictions. Lil Bixby playing in stores and Brixton on the dark web. You gotta pause every doors, cause encryption. Tesla engines, pause the pistons. I seen every floor I leave sore and listing. For that action, they sponsored the Bronson. They was hooked on that shit like Johnson and Johnson. That freeway, Ricky Ross, straight out of Compton, straight out of Bumpton. Red on blue, violence in the land. The projection of the will, the perfection of the kill, the reflection of the pills. I'm a frontline soldier, I'm no doja. These crystals not for focus in crypto. Diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up and dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets lips now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso. Hickory dickory down, hit a lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot. Heavy in the pedal, we slip off a knot. Heavy in the ghetto, they crib walk a lot. Crip walk the crypto, lift off the stocks. Drips off the crystal and pots. Disco rods in the blocks on my chain from the crystal shop. In the light air, lift off the rock. Toe Virgil right chain on my block. White paint on my socks. White paint on my socks. Hickory dickory dock. Hit the lick, put the sticky in the box. When the blicky get hot, lick off a shot, we lick off a shot. Players in crypto, diamonds is dancing like they up in disco. You niggas in fist smoke, you stay up the dip low. You niggas stay up and get low. Heard you way up in Frisco, and you say what the heck so. Every player gets sniffed now, acting gay up in Cisco. Might take the day off and play up at Pistols, causing chaos and play up Calypso.
VCL in my cup, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by steam moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. VCL in my cup, I'm feeling right. Sip to the sunrise, dance to the night. From the ocean's kiss to your city lights. 21 flavors, pure health in every bite. Drip so clean, we're custom made. From reef to street, we elevate. Gold green gel, set the record straight. Nature in a bottle, that's a better way. Charge me up, no caffeine crash. Clean energy, steady splash. From skin to gut, yeah, we live from within. Wellness on 10, let the rhythm begin. Pour it up, pour it up. Feel the wave, body thanking me. Every sip, ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. They sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by sea moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. Island breeze in the city maze. We're mineral rich in 1,000 ways. Immunity high like the summer rays. Hydrate the hustle, fuel your days. Berry, mango, ginger, lime. Pick your flow, your flavor, your time. Beauty and balance we redefine. Every little sip, align your shine. Pour it up, feel the way. Body thanking me for every sip. Ocean wisdom in this glass. We sell magic, see moss. We sell in my car, I'm feeling boss. 21 flavors powered by steam moss. Glow from within, yeah, we never fall off. Count it up, 99 minerals, flaws. From the coral choir to the heartbeat drum. Roots run deep where the wild tide hum. Real ones know where the glow comes from. We sell in the mix now, watch us.
Oh, I'm wilding. You know what? I had the shit, man. I'm sorry. I didn't even click on it, man. That's on me, y'all. That is on me. Boom, boom, boom. Peace to the family, peace to you and yours, peace to the family, peace to you and yours. Welcome, 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 welcome to another episode of Third Eye Thursdays. You are now rocking with the best. Yes, this is your host for this afternoon, Brother Red Pillar in the building. I was saying so much, but I didn't even have my thing on the stage and whatnot. That's on me. Shout out to everybody in the building. Yeah, we starting this day out right. You know what I'm talking about? Shout out to everybody that's on the job. Shout out to everybody that's on the grind. Shout out to everybody that's in the sun right now. Atlanta is warm. The sun is out. I encourage anyone in the building to go ahead and get you some sun. That is very important. That vitamin D during the winter is so essential. Shout out to VCell CMOS. We got the Shilajit gummies. We got the CMOS. We got the A game. Listen, health is wealth. That's the number one thing, especially in these days and times and whatnot. This crazy ass world will strip you of your health. Get your health right. And then we could discuss all of the other things that are on the agenda. But the number one agenda is our health. Vitamin D, because wintertime depression is real. We got to put those nutrients in our body. Make sure you hydrate it. Make sure you're doing your push-ups and things of that nature. The East Coast is finally coming up out of that deep freeze. Atlanta was in a deep freeze, believe it or not, and whatnot. You dig? So we good right now. We warming up and whatnot. I think we have made it through what they call the big chill and whatnot, and shit is starting to melt away, and then we're gonna be looking forwards to spring, because we're gonna spring forward in the spring, and we are summer, we sun children, we sun babies and whatnot. So I just want to say, shout out to everybody in the building. I hope everyone is in the greatest of health, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know what I'm talking about? It's been a while since we linked up. Feels like forever. You know what I mean? But I decided to do this early show. This is a gift for all of my people on the JOB, on the 9 to 5. This is the gift to everybody that's on the grind and whatnot. Make sure y'all share this show. Make sure y'all do everything to make that algorithm do what it do and whatnot. Yeah, Ramadan is approaching. You feel me? Ramadan is approaching. Shout out to everybody that's about to tap in with that. You feel me? Yeah, man. Yeah. We about to go in tonight. We about to go in. So let's do the roll call and then let us proceed. We do it like that. Let's do the roll call and then let us proceed respectfully. You know what I mean? And we get this thing going and whatnot. So let's see who's in the building. Okay, let's see who's in the building. Shout out to everybody in the building and whatnot. You know what I mean? We made sure that we did this one early. We don't want to do the midnight shows and whatnot. We'll let this one marinate throughout the day. You know what I'm talking about? We'll let this one marinate throughout the day the way they're supposed to be. So yeah, this might be a new trend right here. I'm trying it out. This might be a new trend. We might be doing these daytime shows and shit, and just let it rock out the whole day. But don't quote me though. All right, we got Detroit in the building. We have Colorado is in the building. Kansas is in the building. Detroit is in the building again. We have Memphis. What up, Bro-Rilla? Charleston is in the building. North Kakalaka. Yeah, I'm talking about New Bedford, Nicaragua. We got PG counties in the building. Hartford, Connecticut. Fort Worth, Texas. Yeah. Shout out to all of my workers, man. Y'all are very important to me. I promise you. I know I talk crazy because I'm unemployed and whatnot. However, I always want y'all to feel appreciated. I'm one of those people that on the fringes of society. Don't judge me and whatnot. You know what I mean? But I be throwing ropes back. I just want to pull y'all up out of y'all situation one day. But I do respect everything that y'all are out there doing. Understand that. Y'all keeping this shit held together. You know what I'm saying? So salute to every single person who has a gig, is holding on to their gig, is doing what they got to do to put some damn food on the table and whatnot. I respect that. Inktown, Michigan. All right. North Las Vegas. We usually deal with the night walkers and whatnot, the nocturnal niggas and whatnot. But today we're gonna deal with the daytime. You know what I'm saying? The day walkers and whatnot. Shout out to my day walkers. Bridgeport, Connecticut. Shout out to Bridgeport. Cleveland. Plaquemine. I never heard of that. Plaquemine. Okay. South Jersey. Denver in the building. We got the UK. All right. Chesapeake. Stone Mountain up in here. BK. We got Lynchburg. We got Phoenix. Spartansburg. What up, Spartansburg? Wilmington. Hit your horns. Fuck that. Hit your horn. Hit your horns. You know what I mean? I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard. Hit your horns for the gods. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, hit the horns. Philly in the building. Goldsboro in the building. We got the yay. New Bedford in the building. Chi-Town in the building. We got Flint up in the building. Delaware, Poughkeepsie, ATL by way of Marietta, Hartford again. We got South Africa. What's popping? Phoenix is in the building. So we connecting the grid. We are connecting. The grid is connected. It's a global audience. Shout out to everybody in the building. Salute to everyone. Let's go. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, gods and goddesses, Moors and Moabites, I named this episode The Great Fall, number 14, Babylon. Because prior to where we have arrived in this station where we're at. And here's a disclaimer once again. Shout out to everybody that's out there doing their videos and doing their niche and staying on their niche. Right here, over here, what I do, I've been doing this for a very long time. I've been doing this for years upon years and whatnot. So I am on brand with what I do. For somebody to try to come up in here and do what I do, it might not work because that's not what you do. Stay doing what you do. Let me do what I do. You know what I'm talking about? For everybody that does what they do, keep doing what you do. But please don't ever in your motherfucking life try to kick dirt on what it is that we do over here. You know what I mean? Don't do it. I'm just saying, don't do it. Because we are putting on for our people, making them aware of what's going on around the world. Okay? Standing on our business like we've been doing for more than a decade, staying on top of the neck of these devils and not afraid to say it. Okay? We don't want to do kumbaya. We don't want to hold hands. We don't want to work on none of that. We want to expose these people and we want to stay exposing them. And we're going to talk about other things, of course, you know what I mean? Because the world is just not about that. But this is a time, this is a window where we have to make sense and we have to, quote unquote, you know, we can't cower. We have to stand on top of our, quote unquote, predictions. We have to stand on top of our convictions. We have to stand on top of whatever it is that we do. So don't undermine what's being done. That's to all of the teachers in the community and things of that nature. Please don't undermine what is happening, because you can't talk, you can't intellectualize your way out of what's going on around the world. Now, I would say this, and I've said it many other times, and I'm gonna say it again. Do not allow this shit to infect you in no type of way, because it can be a virus. And to be honest with you, there's a humongous psyop taking place. You know what I mean? And the psyop is being used against people who are unsuspecting, unwitting, unwilling, right? Because if you're unwilling to do anything, you're going to be a victim of it. What I would tell everyone to take away from what you're being exposed to is the fact that the only thing that you can do at this point in the day is to divest yourself from what we call Babylon, or what we call the system. Begin to remove remember how Neo in the Matrix was unplugging himself when he woke up in Zion? The idea of this information is to propel you to see things for what it is, not for what we think it is, right? Everybody is walking a different walk in life, just based off of the roll call. Everybody has a different state of mind based off of the state of where you're from. The state of New Jersey or New Jersey state, two different things. Certain people live in a certain state and they have a state of mind based off of where they live. They might not be exposed to certain things. Then there's other people who live right in the middle of it all, and they're being exposed to it, and they have a state of mind. Okay, so their state of mind is, nah, I live around people that eat people. I've grown up around, I've been in households where the sofa was made out of human skin. Now, dead ass, I got an email from somebody from West Virginia, and they had snuck a picture of a couch at one of their pale friends' houses and whatnot, and it was made out of human skin. Okay, some people are in close proximity to what we would call the virus or Babylon. Some people are on the fringes of it. Some people are right in the midst of it and didn't even know that they were in the midst of it. You feel me? Until the lights came on and then they started to see things for what they were. Some people see they get the opportunity to see the fangs of this quote unquote of this demon, but then it's too late. You know what I mean? Like some of these Tinder dates, some of these people that are coming up missing and whatnot. Yeah, they saw the fangs of this devil. They'd seen this person pull a mask off, right? They saw this person pull a mask off and they saw the fangs come out, but it was too late, right? So this is going this is a decade long cautionary tale. I received my wake up call, right? And it was very uncomfortable when I received it because I did not want to I didn't want to believe these men, right? But these teachers and whatnot, they came forward and they basically opened up my eyes by pouring bleach in my eyes, damn near. It was almost like I was getting bleach pouring in my eyes and whatnot. And it really woke me up to a reality that I was kind of, I was in denial about. Just keeping it a buck. I was in denial about certain things. You know what I mean? I was living in the world. I was in the world. I was in that matrix and whatnot. And I'm like, nah, that shit ain't true. Y'all bugging and whatnot. Most of these conversations were going on with Blue Pill because he was one of the first ones that was standing on it. And I was like, bro, you're bugging. Like, chill, son. You know what I mean? So I when people get pushed back from family members and people get pushed back from parents and whatnot, even though I would not suggest that you run around trying to proselytize and pontificate around people who they're never gonna wake up. You know what I'm talking about? They go to sleep hugging pictures of white Jesus, Caesar Bourgeois, that is. You know what I mean? Not Black Tyrone. Caesar Bourgeois. Yeah, they're not necessarily gonna wake up. Okay, they're kind of hit. You know what I'm talking about? And to be honest with you, if you observe them, nothing will wake them up. The the Jabberwocky thing came along. People were like, yo, they finna poison you. Don't do it. They went and did it. Then everybody came out and was like, you know what? Y'all got poisoned. They still rocking. The white coats could tell them anything. The white faces could tell them anything. We understand what's happening with some of our people. They just in a bad position. You could just call it, you could chalk it up to indoctrination. You could chalk it up to I don't know. You could chalk it up to programming. You could chalk it up to watching the goddamn mainstream media and being a slave of the media or media. They did a great job on the elders or the olders or the boomers. Oh man, they did a great job on the boomers. That generation who discovered television, you know, there was a generation to where they was listening to the radio, and then TV came along. They call it the idiot box, but they were floored by like TV and shit. The younger generation, they don't have that type of they don't have that relationship to the idiot box. Their idiot box are their phones. Okay, their trap. Remember Ghostbusters? Remember that box that they would put slime inside of and whatnot? You know, our phones, which we would call the black box or the black mirror and whatnot, you know, is trapping people inside of it. It's similar to that same apparatus that you saw on Ghostbusters, right? But with the boomers and whatnot, the niggas that sat back and watched Vietnam on TV, was like, oh my goodness, we're watching war in color. Yeah, they're cooked. They're out there watching Rachel Maddow, Anderson Pooper, Don Lemonhead. Some of them is on Bill O'Reilly reruns. My goodness. You know what I'm saying? You know, operating real heavy on Facebook. I don't know what to tell them. I don't know how to save them, you know. However, I'm not going to judge because my master teachers come from the boomer generation. My Umi, you know, Dr. Sabi, my dad, all of them, they come out of the boomer generation. So I can imagine what they were up against. And you could just imagine when they decided that they wanted to pursue this walk when 30, 40 years ago, it was completely taboo. It's not taboo anymore. This shit that we're doing right now is almost considered to be trendy. This is a trend now. This is this shit. I was just having this conversation last night about the rise in like the TikTok generation, how we forget that TikTok was niggas dancing, bro. Think about it. TikTok in its initial start, or as a startup, was black people putting on dance moves. They was dancing, fam. TikTok was about niggas with happy feet, bro. That's what they was doing. They was dancing while the world was falling apart. They was on happy feet time. That was TikTok in its earliest inception. However, we have to go back, and I want to do a whole show on this. They was hitting the Quan, they was doing the nay, you know what I mean? And they were being pillaged by these melanated creators who are wild creative, right? All the time. They made that app, and then they got pillaged by that app because they were not being credited. The mayonnaise section of TikTok was cloning them. This was right around the time when everybody was being cloned on the apps and whatnot, and they were stealing our NIL, our name, image, and likeness, and making bank off of that shit. They was out there fishing people and scamming heavy and whatnot. That was around that time. We have to revisit the Great Conjunction of December 21st, 2020. Right? Yeah, Fortnite was still in the dances and not giving anybody credit, when in reality they could be millionaires if Fortnite was really about that life and did them right instead of dirty. They would come up on they would still be having recurring fees and whatnot hitting their wallets. And then the Vines before that, facts, right? So I would say this. After the Great Conjunction, something changed. Now, our focus, of course, is on the older generations because, you know, I am of the older generation. You know, I'm going to stay in my lane, and respectfully, you know, I know what my demographics is. However, I just want to change the focus and focus on the 18, 19, 20, all the way up into the maybe the 30-year-olds right now, because back then they were like 25, 19, shit like that, right? Things shifted dramatically immediately after the quote unquote Great Awakening. I was operating on an app called Clubhouse. Who remembers Clubhouse? Okay. Clubhouse was beginning to shift, right? The consciousness on Clubhouse was permeating through all of Clubhouse. You know, they was creating rooms for this, and they were creating rooms or clubhouses about that, you know, nigga shit. And the consciousness was just permeating throughout Clubhouse. And it was almost like an indoctrination, because they were hitting up rooms with some of these young people and whatnot. And I was watching them being converted in real time. Remember, yeah, they had the room with niggas moaning and whatnot. My dude from Sorry to Bother You, what's his name? He was in there moaning. I remember that. No, this is before Whack 100. Nah, Whack 100 and them, they came later. From what I remember, Whack 100 and them come later and whatnot. This is 2020. Yeah, my nigga Lakeith. He was getting his rocks off. You know what I mean? I mean, don't judge him, smudge him. He was getting his rocks off. But anyway, this was when you had to get an invite. Facts. This was when you had to get an invite to be on an app, and they created this sense of scarcity and whatnot. It was a good business model, And people were hitting you up like, yo, I pay you $10 for an invite, please. And by doing that, they made that app one of the biggest apps. You feel me? On the planet at that time. And in my humble opinion, that's where the mass conversion began to take place that spilled over into what we know as the modern day TikTok, or really not the modern day because TikTok is dead based off of the takeover of Larry Ellison and all of them. But this period of mass radicalization and a mass awakening and whatnot took place on TikTok with the younger generation. These are names that I'll never even know. These are young creators and whatnot who, you know, they were going so hard on that app that they forced Congress and they forced the Zionists. I don't even know if I could say that on YouTube, but who cares? They forced them to take action and whatnot. Now, what really kicked off an awakening was October the 7th. Okay, that was the catalyst, or that was the event horizon that basically turned TikTok from people doing dancing videos, ASMR videos, you know, Pinky, NPC videos, right? And things of that nature, into what we saw, to where them people was waving a red flag because the level of information and the rate at which it was going and the virality, the viralness, shit was going, they was hitting millions, right? Shout out to Hocus 4/5 with the rabbit hole. He was turning up, and Hocus 4/5, his lore is that he's an authentic street nigga, okay, from the Bloods, from Sex Money Murder days and whatnot. And his reputation basically preceded him, okay. So when he basically started going with the consciousness, and he was going down a rabbit hole and whatnot, and to be honest with you, as a fly on the wall in some of those rooms and whatnot, I saw the genuine like I saw people genuinely waking up in real time, like genuinely being red pilled, like genuinely having these eureka moments, these aha moments, these damn, yo, say word type shit, right? Okay, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad's birthday is October the 7th. Y'all give it up for Baba every time, ladies and gentlemen. And I gotta give Baba his flowers. Baba TV, fire every time. Black Magic 363, Father Rich, Kia Life Productions, Knowledge to God, HOK, Sonetta. Those were the platforms that allow me and then Blue to get up and to say what we had to say, right? Unadulterated, uncensored, right? And without any type of quote unquote cut. They was letting me do that shit with no cut, no stamp on it, no stomp on it. Even during what they called the adpocalypse, when they started this mass censorship campaign, they still allowed me to do what I had to do. And Baba TV believed in me. Baba TV supported what we was doing. We talking 2017, 18, 16. And we was talking about this stuff back then based off of the research that we was doing back then. It was considered somewhat taboo. They was like, it wasn't something that the conscious people was into like that. They was on the debates. They was on some other things, you know what I mean? And respectfully, they didn't need to be on it. But the information was presented to them, and it was received very well. The virility was there. We was doing 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 on videos, bro. You know? So for the fact that, you know, the good brother has been with me from day one and he saw something in me, you know what I mean? I gotta give the good brother his flowers. And when we were putting out those videos on the YouTube was not a rest haven for PDF files, hell's rejects. It wasn't they didn't have slop on the platform. Like this was before AI slop. This was before the backstreet of YouTube slop. This was before a lot of stuff. Okay. It was a clear battlefield. You know what I mean? This was even before the rise of what they call the alt-right like that. They were not even doing videos. They were not viral like that. We didn't even have an issue. They were being red-pilled on 4chan. They were still being red-pilled on 4chan. Yeah, this was before OnlyFans. We were showing our ass. Pause. Well, shit. Let's go into this. Let's go into this while we're at it. Let's go and add some receipts. Let's go.
Epstein's the father of politically Nick Fuentes is a son of Epstein. Literally, he is. Epstein's the father of politically incorrect on 4chan. Nick Fuentes is the son. You can draw a line in the sand now and say goodbye to an entire fucking retarded ideology, which is this neo-Nazi alt-right retarded bullshit that came from 4chan in 2011, which is where it objectively came from. Let's be fucking honest. That's where it came from. I know some people are trying to say it didn't come from there. Yes, it did. And boy wonder Nick Fuentes, the little bitch boy, was raised on 4chan, on Pol. All his talking points, his entire worldview. He has this story that he wanted to be in the TPUSA, but he merely had some questions about Israel. No. He was a weird fucking kid that would browse Pol all day and ingratiate himself in these online communities. And then he tried to kind of bring that in real life to the Republican Party. And Pol saw him. Yeah, so anyway, boy wonder Nick Fuentes was coached by 4chan, by Pol, right? He's the, and it comes full circle.
So to add context to what this young man is saying, /Pol, P-O-L, is an extremely racist, toxic, and derogatory 4chan channel or forum that gained widespread popularity, okay, and indoctrinated and radicalized all of these quote-unquote white fragility practitioners. Okay, it gave birth to a lot of these talking points that you're seeing spewed on the quote-unquote far-right podcast ecosystem. Even it even reaches your favorite podcaster Joe Rogan, or who we call Ho Rogan. Okay, because Ho Rogan is the worst out of that whole bunch with his plausible deniability, his willful ignorance, right? He is an operative of the worst level. Okay, he knows everything, yet he knows nothing. I can't stand people like that. And he strings along his base, right, who probably are on base, and he strings them along with this fake ass you know, his, oh really, oh my goodness, I didn't know that. How the hell don't you, the top podcast in the world, fam, and you don't know nothing? You don't know what, you don't know nothing. You don't know a goddamn thing, bro. So yeah, Ho Rogan in his merry band of quote unquote Peckerwoods, they rise up out of these, they go diving in this pool of this cesspool of pure hatred, propaganda, okay, and controlled opposition and whatnot. Now, Jeffrey Epstein, okay, has been based off of emails and whatnot, Epstein met with the owner of 4chan the same day that this quote unquote channel got launched, or this quote unquote, because 4chan is the platform and /poll is one of the message boards and whatnot. It's a political message board. And Jeffrey Epstein is the father of that political message board. He had a sit down with the hold on. He had a sit down with the owner of 4chan the day that it was launched. You know, we got Brosy in the building. We got two Brosies today. Yes. Somebody said that he's like Agent Smith, a program designed to protect the white genetic survival that Dr. Wells and Dr. Francis Cress Welsing talked about. And I would concur. I would say that if you were to name anyone from the quote unquote manosphere, or what they would call the red pill ideology, or the all of the people that got frump into office, I will point out how each one of them can be identified by Dr. Francis Cress Welsing's book and Dr. Neely Fuller's identification of all of these quote unquote white inferiority practitioners. It's so plain to see now. It is so plain to see now that they can no longer hide. So of course there is all type of plausible deniability, all of this mayonnaise meltdown and this fake outrage. And I'm like, no, I'm calling the bullshit on it. And I'm like, y'all all knew, y'all are all a part of it. Y'all using this word elites to try to distance yourselves. But until y'all come clean about what your ancestors were up to, until you expose what your own people were up to, whatever your nationality may be, y'all should be fleshing out the crimes committed by your nationality against people of color. And I don't even like using that term. Fuck that. Against indigenous people that y'all came and pillaged their lands and their resources and their real estate that we call the great estate. Until y'all ready to pack up and go back and reset, I don't even want to talk. I'm just allowing y'all to do these videos and micro aggressively attack your own people. However, the real justice is when y'all pack up and go back to wherever the fuck y'all came from and let us put this shit back together. That's the real justice. I don't care about y'all could go ahead and do some citizens arrest. You know what I'm talking about? While we waiting and whatnot, go and do some citizen arrests. Go and lock up these people. Go and do a citizen's arrest. You know what I mean? Take that shit into your own hand, because that's what y'all used to do back in the days. Y'all will go into the jailhouse. Y'all will drag a nigga out and y'all will hang him. You know what I'm talking about? Y'all was doing citizen's arrest. Y'all will run down on people while they were going to trial, drag them out the courthouse and hang them in the goddamn square. That is your modus operandi. Why don't y'all reactivate that? Okay. But be very honest about the practice of doing all of these heinous crimes to melanated people for damn near more than 1 century. This goes back centuries, family. Is being exposed now from the top down. This whole shit is falling apart before your very own eyes. Do not, I repeat, do not allow nobody to gaslight you and tell you go fucking meditate and think about the birds and the bees and hug a tree and whatnot while this shit is going down. We need your energy. We need your warrior energy. It don't even take physical energy. It's a mental thing at the end of the day, because they had us on mental lockdown. They have us on light code lockdown, mental lockdown, falsehood lockdowns. They lied to all of us. I don't care where you come from. They lied to everybody. And who is they? All of them. See what I'm talking about? All of them. They all have a responsibility to tell the truth. Start there. We're not calling for nothing. Let's be clear. We're not calling for no type of violence. We're not calling for no type of civil unrest. We're not trying to arrange a fucking march. We don't want to get permits so we can march. We don't want no energy harvesting type of activities being done on us. We don't want to put ourselves in the crosshairs of anybody that can harm us. However, we still have our minds and we got our motherfucking energy. Call it back. Because they've been pulling on us. Call it back. Tell the motherfuckers to give you your power back. They took our powers as children, bro. They took our power with the cartoons. They took our power with these comic books. They took our power with these fucking toys. They took our power when we were children, bro. For real, for real. So all we need to do is call that shit back. Stop letting these people feed on us. Fuck that. The minute we integrated into this shit, all hell broke loose. You know what I'm talking about? The minute we integrated into this virus, this malware, shit started going topsy-turvy and whatnot. We don't need it. We don't need it. The brothers who got the reparations in Chicago, fucking salute. You know what I mean? It starts there and it needs to keep motherfucking going. It needs to keep going until it covers all 50 some odd states. And then after that, the land got to come back to us. It's the land. It's the resources. The land has gold in it. The land has copper in it. The land has oil in it. Ooh, you want to talk about oil? I've been doing my research on the oil, the petroleum. You want to talk about oil? In Oklahoma and how we were so wealthy. We were oil rich. You ever heard of niggas being oil rich? They keep that from us. The Osaki murders and everything, where they wiped out that whole goddamn clan, and Getty and all of them came in and became multimillionaires off for stealing that indigenous family's land. Yeah, I gotta see Sarah's oil and whatnot. You know what I mean? I gotta see Sarah's oil. But yeah, this Epstein thing, this Nick Fuentes and all of these fake ass people who, you know, sorry, Candace, all of that shit, that gotta go. That got to go. You know what I mean? Nick Fuentes is publicly supporting the Epstein, by the way. He's come out full, he's pulled the mask off and he's come out as a full, quote unquote, enemy of women.
Because he's wearing the Epstein quarter zip and he's selling it, and it's a symbol of his movement. So, you know, like the son is going back to the father. And yeah, so it's really, this is the time where we got to put a line in the sand and say, close the chapter of Epstein and all his progeny. Nick Fuentes is a son of Epstein. Literally, he is. Epstein's the father of politically incorrect on 4chan. Nick Fuentes is the son. Let's close the whole fucking chapter on this disgusting, rotten family and move on. A lot of people, I mean, he grew his whole army, the Groypers. They were just all the fucking anonymous psyop, chuds, and autistic people on 4chan who didn't know that 95% of the people they were surrounded by were Mossad agents living in Tel Aviv, manipulating them and shaping their entire ideology in an extremely artificial way. For the past decade, we've had this really fucked up, weird political situation where up is down and left is right.
And I'm just here to let you know, after traveling outside of the United States of America and getting my passport stamped and going into Bad Bunny land, okay, I'm here to let you know that the influence of the Groypers is very strong. They have a standing army, okay? They have a standing army. Do not be misconceived by that bullshit ass halftime performance where they was out there waving fucking flags and whatnot. Like that was supposed to mean something. Where the fuck was Tego Calderon, huh? If you really want to talk about bringing the people, where the fuck was Tego at? You know what I'm talking about? In the flesh. You brought Lady Gaga and Tricky Martin and Dickie Martin out. No, those are, you know what they represent, right? You know who they riding with, right? You know who they riding with. So that whole shit was a psyops. That whole entire goddamn performance was a psyops. Because like I said, it's happened before. They took your motherfucking swag, when they toppled the Moors, they ran and took all of your music. They took all of your swag, all of your dances, and whitewashed that shit. And they running around wearing your fits. We're trying to risen up your women, right? They did that shit hundreds of years ago, the same way Daddy Yankee and all of these other people came and they bleached the shit, the melanated reggaeton that Tego Calderon and all of them was doing in Latin America, and they went and they whitewashed that shit and they made that shit look very Spaniard looking. You know what I'm talking about? And that's what the fuck we see right now. And then to make matters even worse, I went down a rabbit hole. Bad Bunny didn't look like he looked now until he met Diddy. Okay? He didn't look like he didn't look the way that he looked now. He met Diddy and everything changed. Pause. Okay? Niggas don't have no respect for the negritos in motherfucking Latin America. Let's be clear. And they all running around talking what they talking, but they not putting nobody dark in the front. What about Telemundo? What about Telemundo? I just found out yesterday that RuPaul is from Atlanta. I did not know that, bro. That shit fucked me up. I just found out that RuPaul used to be a prostitute, walking the goddamn blade, a male prostitute in Atlanta. That's crazy. Man. Anyway.
Where the right wing seems to be more edgy and revolutionary than the left. But that's just because all of the potential people who would have been radicalized by an actual left wing were captured by the fascist right. And all the people.
Bad Bunny got all his flow from the black side, Moreno side of the slums of DR. You know what I'm talking about? He stole his flow from Dominican Republic and Jamaica. And y'all want us to, and people have the caucasity. People have the caucasity to try to say that that shit right there was better than Kendrick. Oh man, unfollow, block. Niggas is on a blockchain. I'm sending them to the block party. Yo, the level of ethnic cleansing that I be doing on my Instagram page is ugly, bro. It's crazy. I be sending niggas to the gulags. You know what I mean? I purposely put incensatory posts out there just so I could trap the coons, because they be coming out the woodworks. Somebody said that Bad Bunny performance, they have the audacity, the caucasity to even compare it. Then they were trying to run with this fake ass narrative that it did more numbers than Kendrick did last year. Lies and deceit. The numbers came out. He's nowhere near Kendrick. What do you mean? Bots from Botswana, maybe. You not near. You did not break Kendrick's record. And you bringing out Lady Gaga and twerking on top of cars was not more political than Samuel fucking Jackson in a goddamn battlefield put together like a PlayStation controller. That does not compare, man. What are we talking about? What the fuck? Where's people's brains at right now? Like, what? Jay-Z did that for OG Juan. That was an OG Juan play. OG Juan and the other Spanish chick, the one who snitched at Rock Nation. That's why he did that. That's why he did that. That was for them. You know what I'm saying? That was for OG Juan. But I'm here to let you know, until somebody could tell me differently, they are raising an army who will march for their papa, who is the Pope. We are in a crusades. Nick Fuentes and all of them weirdos and whatnot, they are radicalizing the Latin Americans. They are radicalizing the far right Europeans. They are even radicalizing coons in Africa. Okay, that's what they're doing, right? And they're backed by the church, and then they're running behind the MAGA maggots. I see it plain as day. You want to talk about replacement theory? Let's talk about the new replacement theory that niggas have been replaced. And there's a plan to really replace us while they out there talking about, oh, we're being replaced in Texas and all of these other things and the browning of America. No, they got plans to replace niggas. Go to New York City. We've been replaced. Go to New York City right now. The replacement theory is right in your face. We've been replaced.
People who are inherently right-wing because of their class disposition, the salaried bourgeoisie, became the faces of the left, even though they were deeply conservative with respect to conserving liberalism and the status quo and their positions, and their class positions for that matter, right? So we have a type of clarity. That's a window of clarity. We have to seize on it, for sure. Absolutely.
All right. And let's go to this next one real quick. Check this out. Check this out, because this is important, and I want us to really pay attention to what's being said.
You to notice them. They're doing this on purpose. If you don't like them, you're falling right into their plan. They've been hiding in plain sight for decades. They control everything. Literally, what is in your hand right now, they control. And you think you're smart for putting that together and noticing? No, you're only noticing now because they let you. They want you to notice. But why would they want that? Why would they want us to dislike them? Because what they won't tell you is that that's exactly how they fulfill their prophecy to make their Messiah arrive on earth. In their prophecies, the nations of the world will all go against them one day. Now, in that moment, before they're completely erased, their Messiah will return and will save them. Now, in order for that to happen, the nation and the worlds have to be putting them in that state.
So if anyone could recall, going all the way back to some of the earlier Great Falls and, really lectures that we've been doing, and we started bringing up what they call end time prophecies, right? End time prophecies, right? And we were pointing out the fact that, some of the people who are in power, right, who kind of like maintain power over the media, entertainment, things of that nature, they push this narrative about biblical end time prophecies, Abrahamic religions, right? Especially the evangelicals in America, the same group of people who says slavery helped melanated people, smile better. You know what I mean? They're the ones who, if you were to ask me, they are the descendants of some of the most vile, quote unquote, some of the most vile, downtrodden, demonic invaders and quote unquote migrants and aliens that came into the Americas and turned this thing into what it is now, and then pillaged the land, right? Remember, there are, I didn't make this up. I'm just remembering, I'm remembering documentaries that I saw as a child. The degenerates and the quote unquote hell's rejects, and prisoners, from the dungeons were sent over here, right? Of the European descent, turned into sharecroppers, and sharecroppers were then deputized, and then they were militarized, and they became their standing army to basically steal the land and go after the indigenous, right? Those are the descendants of these evangelicals, right? And their whole thing is about end time prophecy, right? So the provocation that you've seen with Gaza on October 7th, that's in the book. That's helping to push this third temple type of thing, right? The red heifers, the cows that they had to kill and turn into ash, they already did that, right? Inside of their revelations or their end time prophecies, they are being hated by the world. The world turns to hate them. So what you see taking place is part of their end time prophecies that they may be behind you with you know it, they may be the hand behind it. However, you still have to factor in the fact that we are in this apocalypse, right? And what apocalypse means is we are in this reawakening. We are in this phase where we are opening up our eyes, and our eyes are being opened up. Okay. So two things could be right at the same time, right? That we're in this day and time where shit that was necessarily in plain sight or hidden is becoming very evident to us right now. And we could look at it and say, damn, that's crazy. I never realized that these people were behind that and this and that and that and this. Okay. But what he's saying, I just want y'all to pay attention to.
So yeah, they're doing it on purpose. They want everyone against them. So yes, as backwards as that sounds, they're purposefully expediting and fast-tracking their own prophecy. And us hating them is just working. Crazy, right? But it's going to work. Why? Because as Catholics, we believe this will happen in Revelation. However, in our Bible, the person that does end up coming to save them, it's not the Messiah, it's not Jesus, it's the Antichrist, who they believe is their Messiah. Lucky for us, even though their prophecy will come true, it is only half of the prophecies, with the remainder being Jesus coming in at the end and saving all of humanity.
So once again, what's the reason for divestment? Because none of us is following that shit right there. I'm not following it. I ain't into no religions, especially dealing with the end time prophecies and stupid shit. I'm not following none of that. That is not why I'm here. I'm more so looking for the third eye atlas before I'm looking for Jesus to come back, or what they would call their messiahs. I'm not a part of that. So we know that there's a large influence of Abrahamic religions, and they got billions of bodies attached to each one of them. And I'm removing myself from that type of energy. I don't want to be a part of none of that. I don't give a fuck what it is. I don't. I'm divesting myself from any type of organizations or anything that's dealing with that. I don't want to deal with it. I don't even recognize that. You know? Let them people deal with that shit and that confusion. I'm more on a spiritual path, you know, cleaning up karma from generations ago, preparing myself so I don't have to come back to this bitch, you know, shit like that. You know what I mean? So, and then I'm watching Babylon fall, you know what I mean? That's what I'm watching for, you know? So if that's the end times, then God damn it, let it end. But it's not the end of my time. Because there was never a time when man wasn't. It's not the end of my times. It's the end of their times. So yeah, Babylon is falling right before our very own eyes. And rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? It's a wicked empire. And as we can see, you don't need me to say it. You might be like, damn, why Red is so hard on these people? He needs to take a breather and whatnot. Okay. All right, whatever you say, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep saying what I'm gonna say, and you're gonna keep saying that passive shit because you know, the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the pudding. I don't care if I gotta fall back into myself and just be a loner, you know what I mean? In a cabin somewhere with a hammock, you know what I mean? I'm gonna do what I gotta do to remove my energy, remove myself from these spaces where these people be at, remove myself and place myself in a more conducive environment that speaks to my quote unquote mental health and my overall health, because DNA responds to environment. So we would fare better in what I call living lands, places that are alive, not the concrete jungle where turned into a killing field, unfortunately. you know? And so many of us have been placed in these killing fields, and it's killing us, you know, on the hamster wheel, trying to keep up with the Combs and the Joneses, you know, living a lie, living a program, living a construct. And then when it even comes time to unfigure this shit out, people start getting brain fog, and they feel mentally defeated because it's like a fucking Rubik's Cube. So my main thing is, quote unquote, coming to a place of mental clarity, coming to a place of mental clarity. Somebody says, Goofy, your twin brother reads from the Bible every Sunday, and Babylon was mentioned in the Bible first. I'm not my brother, Goofy. What one man do, the next man don't have to do. Like, I'm not my brother. And to be honest with you, he's not reading from the Bible to try to make you niggas Christians and whatnot. He's not reading from the Bible for an indoctrination. He's not pontificating from the Bible to try to convert. It's not what he's doing. Okay? It's not what he's doing. He is being kind enough to not forget and not to run away or turn his backs on those who are out there who still read from the book, or who still follow the book, or who still adhere to the book. You know what I'm talking about? He's breaking that shit down. He's unpacking it. He's decoding it only the way that Pope Pablo can. I don't hear him trying to get you niggas inside of a church. So, you know, it is what it is. You know what I'm talking about? You have the right to say what you want to say, and I have a right to answer it. You know? But no, me personally, I'm just not with that. That's not my thing. I'm not giving that type of energy. You know, I ain't with it. And I'm not with it. You know, I ain't with the end time prophecies. And my name is Philip. It will be considered a biblical name. But what the fuck? Does that make me a goddamn Christian? No. So let us continue. Let's get into this one right here about, let's just set the stage before we move forward and whatnot. Let's set the stage so we understand why we're here and what we're really doing with our consciousness. And before I put that up there, yes, I do want to give a big shout out to Blue Pillar for what he does every Sunday, because, you know, we all started out in Sunday school. We all started out. So yeah, we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's some people who listen to Pope Pablo and they're able to have conversations with their nana. They're able to have conversations with their moms and their family. They're able to pick that book back up and not be ashamed of it. You know how much trauma is in people's their childhood based off of that book? Even the Quran, and some niggas with the curly locks, the Talmud. You know how much trauma is in a lot of people's minds based off of that book? So to pick it back up with a new set of eyes and whatnot, and to pick it back up with a new formula in which to read it and to interpret it, okay? That's way more powerful than just damning it or saying, no. No, this man is doing the work that many cannot even do. So I just want to make that clear.
The world, the universe exists in our consciousness.
The world, the universe exists in our consciousness. And I've said this before, and I'm going to qualify it. I'm gonna definitely submit this shit and qualify it about consciousness and the power of consciousness, even the threat that consciousness has on these people who assume control over our minds and our bodies.
So this is a secret of the universe. The world, the universe exists in our consciousness. The consciousness is what's real. The material is what's false. And as we imagine, we participate in the universe, we change the universe. And we focus on a certain reality, that reality becomes manifest. It becomes reality itself.
So instead of me supporting our people being red pilled by these stories that are surfacing, being confused, being traumatized, being triggered, no, my approach is mentally, consciously collapse it, right? Consciously, you know, what you put your energy to, or what you put, you know, what you focus on, you can expand. Well, I'm focusing on a goddamn great fall. I'm focusing on this shit collapsing. I'm focusing on some type of change coming from the universe, the spirit realm, right? I'm focusing on the covers being lifted off of this shit. I'm focusing on the veils being lifted, the seals being broken. That's what I want to focus on. That's what I'm going to put my Godhead, right? I'm going to focus on that shit collapsing, because I've seen it collapse before in different lifetimes, and I'm going to keep seeing it happen again. So yeah, that's why I'm like, let's get our minds right. Let's get our minds right. Because if we are in the, if we just leave it up to happenstance and just leave our people in the audience and whatnot and leave them in the crowd to figure this shit out on their own, who knows where you're gonna put your mind into. A nigga might run back to the church. You know what I'm talking about? You know, I mean, think about it. You got people saying, oh, the Epstein files, I'm running back into the church. Nigga, your pastor is on the island. How about that? He's in the files.
Okay? And by living in the memories of others, we become immortal like Jesus. And by constructing our lives in a way that allows for Jesus to return, we can resurrect Jesus in ourselves. Okay, so that's a good secret of the universe. This is a secret to immortality, reincarnation, and godhood. Okay, these three things.
Immortality, reincarnation, and godhood. I want to focus on that. You know what I'm talking about? I want to focus on that. What did Tupac say? Thug immortal. What does that mean? What he said was, and what the African proverbs say is, that if you want to immortalize yourself, right, you want to impress yourself into the minds or the subconsciousness of many, many people so they do not stop saying your name. That is the premise behind the TV show American Gods. When they stop saying your name and when they forget about you, your ass is dead. Okay? But while you're here, if you put on, that's why. And, you know, everybody thinks that human beings are supposed to live to be 100 years old. And that's not the truth. That's not how this shit works. That's not factual. Like they say, some people, like, they go out young like James Dean. Okay. They put on for 25 years like Tupac Amaru Shakur, and they immortalize themselves and whatnot, to whereas his memory will last for lifetimes and generations. They have murals of him around the world. They're gonna erect statues to this man. Okay, he came here, he put on, he got the fuck out of here. Think about it, right? So when he does reincarnate, he didn't sit around till he's 80 and 100, and he popped out. Oh, he was Epstein's Island with Madonna. Oh, you know, they say if you stick around, what do they say in Batman? You stay around long enough on the stage. People don't know when the exit left. They don't know when the exit stage left. They stick around and you watch your hero become a goddamn villain. So people, the 27 Club is somewhat demonized and it's conspiratorial and whatnot. But in my mind, the way that I see it, they tapped in and tapped out. You can't tell me how long I'm supposed to be here. You can't tell me I need to have children and before I die. No, that's not how that shit works. Some people signed a contract to come here, shake the fucking shit up, turn tables over, kick shit over. You know what I mean? Make an impact and then bounce. And then come back as a cat or some shit. I don't know. Whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Look at the babies that are coming back. Look at the rate. Look at the ones that are coming back. The ones that are coming back have the spirit of the ones that just left, like the 18 and the 19, the YNs and whatnot. The young children being born got the YN spirits. It's a recycling taking place. Okay? So, immortality, reincarnation.
And most of us will fail. But it's okay because why? Because our consciousness is forever. So reincarnation means that when we die, we can escape back from the spiritual, and then maybe 1,000 years later, we come back. Okay, so it's a constant cycle where we're trying to achieve these three things: immortality, reincarnation, and godhood. And the secret is love, power, and our imagination, okay? We're here to imagine things.
We are here to imagine things, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I got to go to this commercial for the Imaginarium because he said it. I didn't. It's my guy right here. But he said it and I didn't. I want our imaginations to thrive.
In Brooklyn's shadow, dreams come alive. At dawn's new light, let your spirit thrive. Breathe in courage, let your strength ascend. Dark fire rise and let the power blend. Your aura's a beacon, luck finds its way. With bold steps forward, seize a new day. Shout it proud, success is my own fate. I'm glimmering now, it's time to elevate. I'm a magnet for dreams, success my claim. In sync with fortune, dancing in the game. Wealth cascades freely, triumph ignites, my heart's ready. Soaring to new heights, gentle it's a rhythm in your soul's beat. Fueling your drive, making goals complete. Your aura's a magnet, attracting sway. Dance with prosperity night into day. Riches may flow, but spirit stands tall. Growth the reward, answering the call. Money's a vessel, clarity's the map. No rush needed, wealth's in your grasp. No need to scheme, to hustle or to plead. Just rise up strong, live in your creed. Don't chase, simply receive what's conceived. Feel the rhythm of wealth you're meant to achieve.
Make sure y'all sign up to the Imaginarium workshop, ladies and gentlemen. Our second class is mañana, Friday the 13th. You know what I'm talking about? Friday the 13th, y'all. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th, and that is going to be our second class for Imaginarium. We are kicking it off. We already started with a good start. You know what I'm talking about? And yeah, we're here to expand our imaginations. We are here to expand our imaginations. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th. Make sure y'all pull up to the Imaginarium. You know what I mean? We are making movies. We are tapping into our imagination. Okay. We are living limitless over here. You know what I mean? That's how we're going to take our power back, by tapping into our imagination. Okay. Our imagination. You could click the QR code right there. You could click that QR code with the duck in the middle, and that will get you tickets to the Imaginarium. It is a 90-day workshop. We're doing it in 3 cycles. So you get 30-day cycles. You could choose either the 30-day cycle or you could choose the full 90 days. And the 90 days is going to be 444. And the 30-day cycles, I think, is like 120. You know what I'm saying? So definitely tap in. We have we're going to have the Claude bot working 24/7 with agents and everything, creating these AI movies. We're going to have Original Black God as one of our guest teachers. I got my good brother Giant and whatnot. He'll be teaching the psychosomatic cinema. Man, make sure y'all tap in, y'all. Imaginarium, blueprints in the planetarium. Okay, we working. We are working. All right.
Okay. So this is a great secret of the universe. This is a secret that religions have passed on through thousands of years of human history, and which schools, science, government, all the powers that be try to suppress, because it is a direct threat to this reality. Okay?
So they want to control your mind. They want to have control over your consciousness. They want to put you in this state of fear. They want to put you inside of this psychological operation so you cannot think straight. Be very wary of the tactics that are being used right now in this psyop that is called the Jeffrey Epstein files and whatnot. Be very clear that this is a psychological operation. This is not normal. This is not a disclosure. This is not what you think it is. Okay. This is them basically switching things up. Let's check this out.
The E-Files has revealed to us crucial information about the new ways that elite power operates. We're no longer the Foucauldian panopticon of discipline and surveillance because power doesn't work through punishment anymore. Instead, it works by exploiting freedom. This is a shift that philosopher Byung-Chul Han identifies as psychopolitics, a form of domination that operates through digital platforms, big data, and affective manipulation rather than overt coercion. Seen through this lens, the E-Network is a case study into how elites participate in engineering the political psyche of the digital age. What I'm referring to, of course, is Maxwell's documented role as a powerful Reddit moderator and E's role in the creation of /Poll. Their role in shaping these digital infrastructures point to an unexamined dimension of elite influence. That is, control not only over institutions, but over the environments in which ideology is formed. For over a decade, /Poll functioned as a major incubator for right-wing rhetoric, producing and amplifying narratives like Gamergate, QAnon, and Pizzagate, which was significant in getting T elected in 2016. So with all this considered, contemporary political polarization and culture wars starts to look less like organic democratic disagreement and more like a highly profitable and functional mechanism of control. This form of power is new and uniquely available because of technology. By using the data it has on users, it can predict their behavior and exploit their psyche to direct them towards their own ends. And so users experience themselves as autonomous, red-pilled truth seekers fighting against the liberal mainstream agenda, all while their very beliefs are being psychopolitically manipulated. This is precisely the mechanism Han described. He writes that contemporary power facilitates intervention in the psyche and enables influence to take place on a pre-reflexive level. Influence and power are exercised not through force, but through the subtle manipulation of desires. Unlike traditional authoritarian systems that impose discipline from the outside, neoliberal power encourages individuals to act upon themselves. The subject internalizes power relations and interprets them as personal choice. As Han explains, the subjugated subject is not even aware of its own subjugation. The whole context of domination remains entirely hidden. Consequently, the subject thinks itself free. And this, he argues, has profound implications for free will. He writes that for human beings to act freely, the future must be open. However, big data is making it possible to predict human behavior. This means that the future is becoming calculable and controllable. This is what makes psychopolitical control so effective. It doesn't operate against the will of individuals, but
psychopolitical control. Psychopolitical control.
Through it. So that's how you get groypers who believe they're resisting the system, all while their anger is being intentionally redirected horizontally towards culture wars rather than vertically towards class struggle. Meanwhile, you have Clinton, Chomsky, and T all getting sucked off in the same room.
So psycho-spiritual warfare, right? That is a great definition as to what is taking place. Chaos, magic, right? It would be criminal of me to see what is going on in society and not try to make sense of it to the audience and just say, hey, how about those Nets? Or what about the Super Bowl halftime show and all of that? You know, everything is related. Bread and circus, distractions. This whole thing is somewhat of a distraction. However, it's not a distraction to the point where there's not a reset taking place. Okay. So this is an important distraction because, of course, this has multiple implications. It's not just surface level. Right. But what it is it is enough evidence. It is enough pretense or pretext, and it's enough catalyst for our people to chew off the fucking chains and whatnot, to break free of whatever type of indoctrination we may be under and whatnot. And this is an opportunity for you to pull some loved ones and some people that you care about the matrix. Okay. The window will close very soon, but this is the opportunity to pull some of those that you love out of the matrix. And what does that look like? Well, thank you for asking. What it looks like is almost similar to what I talked about earlier with the grand conjunction in 2020, where melanated people woke up out of nowhere. The younger generation, though, because I meet a lot of people. I meet a lot of people in my walks and whatnot who say, I asked them, hey, when did you get your red pill? Around 2020, fam. 2020. That's when I woke up. And I'm like, all right, when exactly? And they'll explain. Some of them were pre-COVID, some of them were during the lockdown, and then some of them were during the grand conjunction or after. They just said that they woke up one day and they started to see things differently. And it took them on a journey and whatnot, on a hero's journey, to whereas, yo, things just started to make sense and things just started to click and things started to come together. It didn't help the government that in the next 2 or 3 years, they were basically putting they were basically showing their hand and whatnot. They were showing their fangs when they were trying to get everybody jabbed up, right? So that was a huge catalyst for people to open up their eyes. So that is what we see now in this certain situation, that, you know, people who may have been willfully ignorant, this is something that they can't dodge. This is something that they can't ignore, right? There's a lot of trauma out there in the world, okay? And people, you know, people who have been traumatized, it wasn't by the people that look like Jeffrey Epstein. It wasn't by what they would quote unquote call an elite. You know, some people got traumatized by people that look like them in their hoods, in their house, in their households, you know, people that they trusted and whatnot. So yeah, we do understand that this whole fiasco has implications to where people are like, I don't want to be triggered. I don't want to be, you know, this shit is triggering. I don't want to be triggered. I'm being reminded of things. And like I said, I get it, because you're not going to find what it is that you need in this case, in regards of, you're not going to see men hanging from a gulag. You understand? You're not going to have a district attorney who will get up there, right, and apologize, right, for the survivors. You're not going to get that. You're not going to see men hanging, right, from ropes and whatnot. You're not going to see men getting dragged out of their quote unquote ivory towers and whatnot and whooped in front of the people. You feel me? So that is, I don't want anybody to be under the pretense or the pretexts or the illusion as to something like that is going to happen. No, you're going to get Pam Bondi. You're going to get Pam Bondi, right? Who is the district attorney. She's the top cop in America, right? You're going to get white women entertainment. You're going to get gaslighting. You're going to get a lot of people playing in your face and whatnot. That's what you're going to get. So I would not look at this case to say, you know what? I'm finna get my justice with. No, you're not. No, this is just more of the revealing. But through the revealing, you could get the healing and whatnot. And I'm here to let you know, right, that island that Jeffrey Epstein was on, okay, that island and those surrounding islands like Puerto Rico, like St. Croix, like Dominican Republic, that trauma exists on those islands. And they was there before Epstein got there. The church brought that shit. Okay. The church brought that shit to the islands. The church brought that shit to the hood. The church brought that shit to Latin America. The church brought all of that shit to Africa. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. Okay. So these people are only perpetuating some shit that has already been there.
Epstein pick Little St. James.
All of St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands has actually been the base of a human trafficking operation for over 300, maybe even 400 years. These families, you know, who happen to be Sephardic Jewish families, would relocate to the Caribbean, in the 1600s, and get established as shippers, but human trafficking was one of those big businesses. The two families that really come to mind are the Yulee family and the Levy family. Both those families came from St. Thomas.
Right next to Little St. James.
Right next to Little St. James. Those two families would go on to produce America's two first Jewish senators, David Levy Yulee and Judah Benjamin. And they would go on to be arguably the second and third in command in the Confederacy during the Civil War.
And they were fighting to keep human trafficking legal.
Correct.
Rosie.
Reason nothing gets better. No matter who you vote for, what laws you pass, or how hard you scream. Because you're not living in a broken system. You're living in a ritual, and the system is the altar. Give me 60 seconds and I'll show you what they never wanted you to see. Moloch never died. He just put on a suit. Look, in the ancient world, Moloch was worshipped through fire. A bronze bull, children placed in outstretched arms, drums played loud enough to drown the screams. It was not religion, it was transaction. Sacrifice your child, gain power, prosperity, protection. Now look around today. Child trafficking rings protected by governments. Celebrity kids ritualized and destroyed. Youth sent to wars to protect corporate pipelines. Gender experiments sterilizing children under the banner of choice. Still think Moloch is dead? He doesn't need your belief. He just needs your silence. They've evolved the ritual. The sacrifice isn't at the temple anymore. It's in your schools, your hospitals, your headlines. It shows up as war memorials, pharma lobbyists, Hollywood red carpets, UN-sponsored trauma cycles, blackmail networks with island entry codes. You think Epstein was a scandal? It was a logistical node in a spiritual operating system. They don't want your money, they want your compliance while they feed on the ones who cannot speak. Comment scroll if your body just caught up to what your mind always suspected. If you felt the wrongness, the silence, the distortion, this is your confirmation. We're never paranoid. We're decoding the altar. Look, the cult did not vanish. It got syndicated. You want to know how Moloch hides? He hides in progress that mutilates kids. Peace funded by war machines. Art that glorifies blood and fragmentation. Education that never teaches you how to see it. Protected by labels like conspiracy theorist. Shock psychology, ritual inversion, billion-dollar silence. Moloch isn't a statue anymore, he's a system. And you funded it with your attention. Comment scroll if you've seen the symbols but didn't know what they meant. If you're done feeding a machine that runs on silence, obedience, and innocence set on fire, that's you, then this is your moment. You do not escape it by looking away. You collapse it by naming it. Moloch survives because we stopped calling him out.
Rosie. All right, let us continue. So you might see this picture and you might say, well, God damn it, who is this person? Now, let me preface why today's episode is called The Great Fall. Leading up to yesterday, we had the release of these files. We had some people's favorite president, Donald Trump, talking what they talk, but we did not hear from a representative of the Justice Department. We did not. Up until yesterday, we did not know how they felt. We did not know where their compassion was. We didn't know what level of empathy they possessed, correct? And then it all came crashing down at a Senate or Congress hearing with Pam fucking Bondi. Okay? And then everything was made clear. If anybody watched that hearing yesterday, that was the most eye-opening, disgusting display of psychopathic narcissism that I have ever seen in my entire 50 years. I mean, this is the top cop if I was sitting up convicted, if I was sitting up in the pokey, and Pam Bondi was the attorney or the goddamn attorney general behind that shit, and I saw her get up there and completely disrespect every single goddamn person who is a victim or rather a survivor, right? For all of the missing children around the world, for all of the damn children that they brought across the border and they came up missing, for all of the thousands of people that are missing from Alligator Alcatraz, the hundreds of thousands of missing children, and this is the person that's supposed to get you some justice? Fam, I'm surprised you're surprised, but she gotta go. But her going is not going to change anything. She just exposed the whole entire fucking system. It took her to do it. Because like I said, prior to that, it was just a releasing of the files. There was hearsay. There was this, there was that. But when she got up there under oath and lied, oh no, it just entered into a whole nother fucking sphere of Babylon falling. This one was it.
Pam Bondi was just asked in Congress why she's not prosecuting pedos, and here is what she had to say.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should.
Bro, what? Like, I damn near smacked when I saw it, I smacked the phone out my hand. I said, I was like, this gotta be AI. They done dropped C Dance ahead of time. What is this? Is this clean 3.0? These AI slop niggas is taking it too far. I smacked my phone. But it was real. It wasn't AI. She literally got up there and said the stock market hit 5,000. Fuck these kids. Like with the women behind her from Epstein Island. She said the trap is booming, right? What the fuck? This can't be. This is Babylon falling right before your very eyes.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000, and the
Now I know this whole thing is bad theater. I know that we're in a Roman opera. I get it. I understand. I don't take these people literal like that. Right? I really don't. However, you gotta, if you're gonna act, you can't be a bad actor. You gotta put on a show. If you're gonna act in central casting, I need a show from you, sis. That wasn't a good fucking act right there. That you gotta go back to send her back to Juilliard. Send her ass back to motherfucking training, bro. Oh man. I would have rather seen Erica Kirk up there. What? Another episode of WWE. I told you who's holding this shit together. Who's lying for them? Who was the motherfucking culprit the whole time? This is them. This is their shit. This is their entertainment. They're sitting around eating crumpets, reading the fucking Epstein files on some island and whatnot. A whole bunch of them. Like Sex in the fucking City, bro. Okay? This is their entertainment. They put this shit together. Just Lane Maxwell. All the Ghislaine Maxwell is all of them. And I don't want to paint them with a broad brush, but fuck that. Fuck that. These white men are not doing this shit on their own, bro. Let's be clear.
NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year.
Unbelievable.
Great, but stocks are doing great. That, unfortunately, my friends, is America in a nutshell.
There's no coming back from that one right there. If she's not in handcuffs by later today, bro, then you know what you're dealing with. Act accordingly.
Pam Bondi's my aunt, and if you're wondering, yes, she's my aunt, and
this is the Pam Bondi section right here, ladies. Strap in. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be the Pam Bondi section right here. About we're gonna spend about 15 minutes on Pam. Let's go.
Pam Bondi's my aunt, and if you're wondering, yes, she's always been like this. And no, we do not speak. Pam has always been a liar, according to my family. Apparently, when she failed her bar exam for the 19th time, she showed up to court and tried to use her safe serve bartender certification to defend her second cousin and boyfriend from his third DUI. When Pam was in college, she tried to use her SNAP food stamp card. At the bar, she painted it black with a Sharpie and tried to say it was an Amex Black Card and that she was Paris Hilton. When the bartender told her that she wouldn't even make it as a Hooters girl, Aunt Pam got thrown out and then apparently bought a bottle of Thunderbird, came back sloppy, and tried to quote Julia Roberts from Pretty Woman, but she ended up falling over. But apparently Aunt Pam has been like this since she was a kid. Story goes that Aunt Pam used to run around Tampa saying, "I'm gonna be just like our hometown hero, Hulk Hogan. Blonde, rich, and racist. And boy, do I love the fact that his first initials both start with H. H, Hulk Hogan." This is just satire. Pam Bondi is not my aunt, but God, is she awful. So if you like me roasting awful people, be sure to follow along.
Pam, what the fuck? Let's go, baby. Let's go, Pamela. God damn it. Here we go.
Hi, Pam Bondi. What are you doing with Keith Frankel? I have a couple questions for you, Pam. How much were the acting lessons? Do the Epstein victims that you cried with know that you're friends with Keith Frankel? Why was Keith Frankel and Jeffrey Epstein talking about body boxes on February 10th, 2010? You've read the files, so I'm sure you can tell us. If Jeffrey Epstein was such a monster, Pam, how come Keith went to his house so many times? One thing that was mentioned in the Epstein files is children being trafficked out of Ukraine. Keith Frankel and his family run a children's home that takes children out of Ukraine. You need to cut the shit, Pam. You need to cut the shit.
Scam Bondi. That's her new name. Scam fucking Bondi.
Pam Bondi's my aunt.
You know what I mean? Scam Bondi. We got more on Pam or scam. Let's go.
Is how you smoke a heifer.
And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly.
Yo, look at the teeth, bro. Look at the fucking smile. Look at the shit. Look at her pie hole. Look at her teeth, bro. Look at that demonic face. She got the Mar-a-Lago face, man. Scam Bondi got the Mar-a-Lago face, fam. And 80 pounds of makeup on right now. You know what I'm talking about? Look at them bags right there. You know you got to pay 10 cents for a bag in Trader Joe's. Somebody said a squirrel. Look at that. Look at her. Where's those, bro? Where did those teeth come from? God damn it. Somebody want their teeth back, Pam.
No intentions of answering questions, but instead I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children. Wrong. Right or wrong, killing random citizens. Definitely wrong. Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States. Definitely wrong. Okay, thank you, because I probably never would have got that with our witness. Our witness who somehow is a lawyer but does not understand how it works with witnesses. I'm not really sure what law school she went to and what all kind of cases she tried, but typically when you come into a space and somebody's a witness, then they sit there and they answer questions instead of asking questions. And then we also have this objection that we use as lawyers called non-responsive when a witness fails to actually answer the question. But nevertheless, let me address the survivors, because that's exactly who they are. They are not victims, they are survivors. Let me say thank you for having more courage and moral clarity in your pinky fingers than the entire Department of Justice. We are currently the laughing stock of the world, partially because of the failed leadership within the DOJ, as we see kings and queens falling everywhere around the world. But we don't know the basics of right and wrong in this country, because it's not about partisanship. And that's why I applaud Thomas Massie, because he's the only person on the Republican side that has a backbone and knows how to stand up to corruption. But nevertheless, let me keep going. You're spending more taxpayer resources arresting journalists than you are prosecuting pedophiles and creeps. In fact, your boss, the President of the United States, stated that this administration, quote, took the freedom of speech away. And at your direction, DOJ has a...
This is how you smoke a heifer.
And to be clear, I'm not going to ask any questions of this witness, because this witness has revealed that she has no intentions of answering questions. But instead, I'm going to ask some very basic questions really quickly of my colleague, Becca Ballant, if she will answer right or wrong, raping children. Wrong. Right or wrong, killing random citizens. Definitely wrong. Right or wrong, enriching yourself as the sitting president of the United States. Definitely wrong. Okay, thank you, because I probably...
Bruh. Packed her right on up. Come on, Spam Bondi. You could have did better than that, Spam. What the fuck? You woke up and chose violence. Let's see what else we got on Spammy.
People mentioned in the Epstein file.
Let's see. Okay, let's go here.
So Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell are Jewish supremacists. Yes, you heard that right. Jewish supremacists. So what does that mean? It means that they operated from a worldview that Jewish people are inherently superior to that of any other group, and therefore they're entitled to power, access, and immunity. And just like white supremacy, it doesn't just start with violence, it starts with language. So let me break this down using what I call Epstein's Urban Dictionary, Jewish Supremacy Edition, because these are words and ideas found directly in Epstein's emails. Goy, Goyim, or Gentile. This doesn't simply mean non-Jew. In practice, it was used to mark outsiders as culturally, morally, or intellectually lesser. In Epstein's world, often disposable. Shiksa, a term that sexualizes and dehumanizes non-Jewish women, reducing them to bodies for use, access, or conquest, without belonging or any protection. Chosen people. When stripped from its religious and ethical context, this becomes a claim of inherent superiority, used to justify entitlement, dominance, and exception from accountability rather than responsibility. Genetically Jewish. When Epstein used this phrase, he wasn't talking about culture or faith. He was invoking biology, DNA, blood, genetic purity as proof of his dominance. That some people are born superior and others are not. Self-hating Jew, that is a silencing weapon. It's used...
Chill, yeah. They telling on each other, man. Relax.
To punish and discredit Jewish people who refuse to protect elites like Epstein, challenge their abuses, or question power. None of this is Judaism. So this is what happens when abusers, they weaponize identity and twist religion into armor. Supremacy of any kind creates a system where people are exploited, erased, and violated, while those at the top, they claim innocence, holiness, or exception. This is under the guise that has allowed people like Epstein, Netanyahu, to commit some of the most evil acts of violence known in history.
So I wanted to add that into context because I want to show what Jewish allegedly supremacy is doing alongside alleged white supremacy, because we know there's no such thing as that. However, when you see this woman moving the way that she's moving and her quote unquote her pompousness, right, and her abject disrespect for the law, and this is the top lawyer in America, then I just want you to know what you're looking at. She has adopted that mind state, and it is on full display for the world to see, and it is disgusting.
The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe.
You know,
we
Trump
should
wrote
be
that for
talking
her.
about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
Mr. Jordan, am I going to get an extra 45 seconds added to my time?
The committee will be in order. The time belongs to the gentleman from Texas. Ms. Bondi, the Attorney General can respond.
Thank you. The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years.
Oh man, she talking that EYL. Said the Dow, them stocks is up, Palantir niggas.
Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times.
Yeah, I already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time. Mr. Chairman.
This is how this works.
Can I have my time back?
Mr.
Chairman. All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that?
Here's
a political
the question.
joke.
If I was sitting around with blonde hair right now, I would literally have to at her on Twitter and be like, sis, you're fucking up. You're making us blondes look bad. You're fucking up. You know what I mean? You're fucking up the ecosystem for the blondies out there. Like, come on, sis, get it together. You know what I mean? You're not doing us right. You know what I'm saying? You're leaving us out there looking bad. The fuck?
I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you in fact make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why.
So in 2012, he was already convicted of a crime, sir. In 2012, he already had a jacket for being a sexual offender. So there's nothing wrong with that, bringing your children to an island of a sexual offender.
But for 10 years, how well did you know him?
All right. So we are in number 11 and he lives in number 9.
Right.
So we renovate, we buy our house, and our house is pigeons and mice.
Right.
Okay. It was derelict.
Right.
So we rebuild our house. We move in 2005. Okay. Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like 08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. So my wife and I go next door. We walk the 7 steps,
yes,
right, to the next house for coffee. We share a wall,
right.
So it's in New York City. So he invites us in. We have coffee in this, and he says, "Do you want a tour?" We said, "Great,
interesting."
Really,
mind you, for context purposes, Epstein lives in the most expensive house in all of New York City. We already talked about that. That was Lex Wexner's house. He lives in the most valuable, expensive real estate in the entire city. And you know that real estate in New York is the top real estate in damn near the world, next to probably Dubai. So if I know anything about white folks, they research everybody around them before they move somewhere. Facts. Okay. They wanted to meet Mr. Epstein. He's a goddamn liar.
Big house.
Every room you went into?
He's got, well, I'll tell you.
So on Polymarket, if you want to get some money, go on Polymarket and put some money on this nigga is leaving office very soon. You could bet on that. You know what I mean? We know Pam is on her way out as well, but he's probably going to leave before Pam. His ass is gone.
Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he gets weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. Oh, so I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
So that was his first interview. Mind you, I just put a context to it. Now, this is him under oath.
I think you understand the root of concern here. It's the way you described very emphatically your first encounter with him in his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife, all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about that in 2012, I don't recall why.
You live next to him, but your ass is all the way on the island having lunch, and you brought your children, right? And you brought your children, but you knew what type of person he was. I want to see what's going to happen with this guy. What's up with your man,
credible
Cash?
information?
Cash App Patel.
None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals, and no credible information. No credible information. No credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
in the files.
In the case file.
Okay.
Somebody needs to go get their bread up. I'm not a gambling man. You know what I'm talking about? I'm not a betting man. I don't do, you know, maybe one day, but I'm not a betting man. But some of y'all are. Poly market right now is where you get your ones up because it's a prediction market. And if I were able to predict some things, I could predict that these motherfuckers' heads is about to roll because the ego of Donald Trump is looking for fall guys right now. They have to. Somebody has to be, somebody's head has to roll. Somebody has to put their head on a chopping block for the emperor, for Caesar. Okay. Caesar will not allow them to walk around, right? The way that they've embarrassed themselves, the way that they've been caught out there. It's one of those, you're on your own, buddy. You're on your own, buddy. So either they're going to turn states on him and, you know, he's not going to allow that to happen, or he's going to chop some heads off. And these three, Howard Lutnick, right, or Butnick, Cash Patel, and Pam Bondi, or Spam Bondi, those look like the three heads that are definitely going to be rolling in the guillotine in the very near future. They need fall guys, and it looks like that these people are definitely looking like the fall guys. Okay, so just look out for that. And once again, if you're a betting man, put a few dollars on it and you'll see what happens. Okay, so let's continue. And we do have a special, we have an announcement that we're going to make in a minute, but yeah, let's go into this.
Is shocked about Deepak Chopra in the Epstein files. Shocked. But here's what they're missing.
This is to all of the people who bought into that fake ass guru shit. You know what I mean? Was putting gurus above master teachers. Y'all became Indian overnight and everything. Y'all, you know what I mean? Y'all in Bali with Russell Simmons doing yoga classes, and y'all paid these people all of this money. Y'all paid these people all of this money to meditate with them, to do yoga with them and whatnot, to get the red dot on your forehead, and all of them with PDF files. And you don't want to talk about it.
When it comes to other Indian godmen, Asaram Bapu, convicted of raping one of his followers. Gurmeet Ram Rahim, convicted of rape, murder, forced castrations. Nityananda founded his own country, but rape. Rajneesh, bioterrorism, child abuse, 93 Rolls Royces, but let's not forget sexual assault, rape. This is not new. Indian godmen have been taking advantage of their followers for years. It's a thing. Deepak Chopra simply swapped saffron robes for a business suit, but that doesn't make him legit. So what does this say about the godmen? Or should I ask, what does it say about their followers? For India, a civilization that is this old, this spiritual, this deep, why are we going this shallow?
They're not this spiritual. They're not this deep because they got black people at the fucking bottom. They're not this civilized. They're not that deep. Okay? They got the goddamn untouchables. You can't even walk in their shadow. You can't even walk in their shadow.
This deep. Why are we going this shallow?
Maybe your whole goddamn thing is built off of some type of falsehoods. Y'all not coming clean about it. You know what I mean? While we're on that subject, let's get to this shit.
People all the time. When I went to Puerto Rico for the first time, which I've gone many times, you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. If you want to know what I'm talking about, just go to Puerto Rico. You don't need a passport. They literally physically segregated the black Puerto Ricans from the clear ones. You know, like Jim Crow used to be in America. Okay, it's like that in 2026 in Puerto Rico.
Just came back from Puerto Rico.
They are physically segregated and they can't work downtown. Very few of them are allowed to work downtown.
Nope.
They don't allow them to work downtown. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they don't let the Puerto Ricans who look like me work downtown? Because then you'd know, wait a minute, there's y'all. Then you would look at the other ones and say, well, who are they? And then we'd have to have the conversation on, well, if they're the Puerto Ricans, then who are these people? It's literally segregated right now.
I wanna challenge melanated people to stop going to these damn resorts. Stop going to these islands and walking around spending your USD and whatnot, right? In these motherfucking places where the only reason that they showing you they crooked ass teeth is because they want your money and whatnot, but they will not treat people who look like you righteous in the fucking places where you're visiting. How dare you niggas go to Jamaica and go to these tourist beaches and whatnot, and the motherfucking Jamaicans can't even go on the beach. But because niggas is scary and whatnot, and y'all think that the niggas are gonna rob you, you think that the black Puerto Ricans want to take your fucking fake ass watch and whatnot, or you think the black Brazilians from the favelas is gonna steal your fucking Gucci slippers and whatnot, or you think that the motherfucking melanated Dominican Republic niggas is gonna try to steal your woman. You niggas is you down with the colonizers. You chilling with the colonizers. You're down with the program. You're not going there to disrupt nothing. You're not asking no questions. Niggas is not turning over tables. Come on, man. Like, real talk. This shit is going down in all over in the Caribbean, South America, Latin America. But because we got a passport and a few dollars and whatnot, they'll play nice with you until your ass asks a question. And the minute you ask a question, the conquistador will pop out. I seen it. I got the receipts. I'm trying to get the footage. So all that Bad Bunny shit, that Daddy Yankee shit, we need to have these conversations even with the Puerto Ricans that came to America. It's like, yo, fam, why y'all in the Bronx chilling and everything, but the Dominicans that came over here to live a great fucking life. No, it don't matter where they put you in the Bronx. It don't matter where they put you in America. That's a great fucking life. We know this. We know this. And when you start protesting about how America's treating you, the people who they brought over here, they will not protest with you because they don't agree with you. To them, they like, I don't see no oppression over here. Shit. I don't see no problems over here. Nigga, I got hot water, a radiator, and a motherfucking door with a key could go into it. They will be like, pack these niggas up. If they complain, and we'll take their place. Let's talk about it. Me no black papi. Let's talk about it. They'll never get on your side to protest inequalities in America, because where they come from, the inequalities don't look like your inequalities. Facts. They're not on board with that shit. They looking at you with the side eye like, nigga, do you know? Do you got EBT? Nigga, what? The electricity, you got Wi-Fi. You complaining? So mad uncomfortable conversations is going to have to start happening. I blame, and I'm not blaming, but I'm looking at the Catholic Church, the Roman Catholic Church. I'm looking at whatever crown is uncontrolled, because the UK, King Charles is control of Jamaica. And they talking about, no, the Maroons fought. You niggas that's doing pasa and all of that, y'all didn't fight nothing. Y'all are not free. Let's be clear. All of that, Bad Bunny was showing he climbed up the light pole and he showed the social club and what the fuck? What does that mean? That nigga, that was an art installation. That's called a performance. Niggas do that every day, B. That's not revolutionary. That's not saying nothing. Oh, he climbed the electric pole because there's outages. Man, if that's the shit that you niggas call groundbreaking, then you need to fall in the ground. Fuck you mean? Bread and circus. I'm glad we was doing a live and we didn't even watch that shit and give it our energy with our eyeballs. What are you talking about? What are you talking, Cosmic Blackie? The fuck are you talking about? Bad Bunny is a fan to the culture. Y'all are confusing fans for people that are taking your culture. Y'all are confusing fans for people that are taking your culture and doing whatever they want to do and turning it into their culture and then give you a little shout out like, hey, thank you for your culture. But we finna take this shit and do something with it. You know what I mean? We finna turn it into whatever we want to turn it into and remix it and twist it and turn it. Yeah. And give you some flattery at the end of the day. We're gonna have to be a little, you know. The Gulag concentration camps and intentional famines that martyr tens of millions. You know. That was just... Let me let my dude come in here and shake shit up a minute. Hold on.
The same thing. We're not angry enough. So I'm just going to tell you the truth. This is something nobody is willing to admit. The system can withstand anger indefinitely. It doesn't flinch. It doesn't panic. It doesn't even listen to it because anger is readable. It's predictable. It's one of its own renewable resources. You think your rage scares power? Rage is how power knows you're still inside the cage. Actually, let's stop being polite. Let's just stop being polite.
Nothing is wrong with cultural exchange. We all jack each other's ideas. Where? Larry? Where are we jacking from? What are we jacking? What are you talking about? Who's jacking what? Pause. And what, you don't even know what cultural exchange is. What we jacking? But like I said, if I go into Latin America to learn salsa, before they teach me salsa, they have to tell me where it comes from. When I go to Cuba and we're going to learn the drums and whatnot, I would appreciate when we start the cultural exchange that you share with me where the fuck that shit come from, because that's not even, y'all adapted that. That's something that you received and whatnot. So what are you talking about with a cultural exchange? Where's the exchange? What do we get in return? Because the whole shit over there is ours anyway. So what are we talking about? Where's the exchange? Huh? There needs to be a currency exchange. What's the cultural exchange? I want to know. Not to say that they can't be none. I just want to know, what is the exchange? So we could be clear. If they're not talking, because my cultural exchange is I want to go and teach them about the Moors, the Lemuria, the Atlanteans. I want to teach them about the Pleiades star system, the Orion star system. I want to teach them about Olmecan society. I want to teach them about the Mississippian mound builder society. I want to teach them that Montezuma was Mansa Musa. Things like that. That's the cultural exchange. And then we could fucking break dance afterwards. I want to teach them about the 100 plus black inventors from America who made peanut butter, stoplights, fucking elevators that they riding on, shit like that. You know what I mean? The motherfucking filament for the light that's giving them some light. I want to teach them about that. That's what I want to teach. Fuck you mean? What are we jacking?
White people, the government does not fear your rebellion either. It sure doesn't. Not even a little. Your guns don't scare it. Your flags don't scare it. And your cosplay revolution doesn't even scare it. They already ran the numbers. They already know you can't outlast supply chains. You can't secede from insulin. You can't do it. You can't shoot your way into semiconductors, and you can't militia your way into legitimacy. So you can hold land, but you cannot hold civilization. Actually, let's give them everything. The national horror fantasy. White nationalist group seize land in the South. They get guns, militias, checkpoints, whatever they call freedom. This is the image that people use to scare themselves, but I'm going to tell you what actually happens. The system does not hope fragmentation comes. It is not a hope. It counts on it. Legitimacy does not erode. It detonates on contact. Insurance doesn't pull out. It disappears overnight. Trade locks its doors. Fuel never arrives. Medicine literally ceases to exist. Dialysis stops. That's what I want you to think about. Insulin stops. Antibiotics stop. Banks freeze because risk models trigger. Hospitals shut down because liability evaporates, and food rots because shipping routes don't recognize fantasies. So you don't even need tanks to break down a white secessionist movement. Not at all. No speeches, no dramatic crackdown, just silence. The sound of people recognizing too late that civilization is not held together by dominance, but by thousands of invisible agreements that they never learned how to replace. So the system wouldn't even need to crush the scenario. It lets it bleed itself dry into the word freedom tastes like ash, and the people there are left standing begging for the very continuity they thought they could conquer. And that's the grief underneath every white fantasy. Not that domination failed, but that white dependency was exposed. Let's get to freedom of speech, because we can kill all the romance around it right now. Speech is free because speech does not move power. You can scream forever. Forever. You can articulate perfectly. You can go viral. The system will index you, monetize you, and wait for you to burn out. I promise you, there are so many people I've gone through this cycle. I want you to really understand that speech itself keeps you inside, arguing with a structure that does not need to answer. And also, let's go.
When my nigga taps on the back of his head and his glasses at the same time, y'all in trouble. He's fucking activating.
Even further. The right to bear arms staying this long is only proof of one thing. Not freedom. No, not an addiction to freedom. Not trust. Confidence. The state didn't hesitate to disarm you because it decided it didn't need to. If civilian weapons posed a real threat to power, they'd be gone. They'd be gone. I want you to really think for yourself. Not debate. No, there'd be no debate around it. There'd be no mythology around it. There'll be no culture war. They'd just be gone. The fact that they're still here means that the calculus is already closed. They already know that you can't aim at credit. I'm just keeping it real with you. You can't shoot logistics. You can't intimidate insurance. You cannot threaten a supply chain. You cannot hold a gun to electricity and make it comply. You can't do it. So you don't fight the state and get crushed. You fight the state and nothing happens until your prescription stop refilling, and your cars stop clearing, and your trucks stop arriving, and your hospital stops accepting liability, and your people start turning on each other over scarcity. There will be no sirens if this happens. No sirens. No show of force. No martial law fantasy. Just systems doing what they were designed to do when risk exceeds the tolerance. I'm just trying to make it make sense to you. So weapons do not scare power because power no longer lives where violence can reach it. I'm just being honest with you. It only lives where collapse can reach it. And the state does not delay and lets reality do the killing while it keeps its hands clean. That's why rights persist. It's not because it's dangerous, but because it's an admission that it is irrelevant at scale. And irrelevance is safer than suppression. We can even go further than this. Corporate accountability. Right? A lot of people cling to this. They believe that corporate accountability, legal wins, and court decisions will be able to guide them further. So I want you to really listen carefully, because y'all are some hard believers. If a victory must be recognized by the system that exists, then it is not liberation, it's a permission slip. Corporate rights don't exist because corporations are evil. They exist because corporations are perfect system citizens. They don't age, they don't feel, they don't mourn or hesitate. They obey procedure, scale infinitely, and absorb cost as consequence. The system does not restrain power, the law formats it. The law formats power. So when you win in court, when a regulation passes, when a corporation gets fined, that is not a rupture. That's the system saying to your face, we can survive this too. We sure can. And that part really always makes people shudder, because the nightmare scenario is not an authoritarian takeover. It's not malicious. It's not collapse. The real horror is continuity. Just sheer endless continuity. A system that could absorb rage, rebellion, reform, exposure, and scandal without ever needing to change what it is. And that's why anger feels righteous but hollow, and why victories feel real but thin, and why something in your chest still hurts right now. Because right now, deep down, you know nothing fundamental has moved. Nothing.
I'll get back to him, but I just wanted him to give this reality check, because being angry, yelling and screaming, marching and parching, making threats on the internet, all of these things are moot. You just running up your blood pressure. Okay. Trying to join Antifa, marching against ICE. All of these things are just they're already checkmated. It's the best thing that you could do is remove yourself, your attention, your gaze, your energy, unplug, focus on your health, prepare for war, get your essentials in order in case something ever fucking pops off, because he's breaking it down as to what it is, what's the pure logistics that will defeat you before one shot is even fired. You feel me? So all that rebel rousing, I ain't with none of that. All that fake angry shit, I ain't with none of that. I don't want to hear none of that. I'm not into none of that. You know what I mean? Please don't inbox me or DM me with no type of insensitive Molotov cocktail emails. I'm not even gonna open. I'm gonna delete that shit. I'm not here for none of that. You know what I'm talking about? I don't want to hit the front lines with nobody. And I would highly suggest that everybody just focus and don't fall into the Palantir, what they call energy harvest. Don't walk into the Palantir energy harvest.
Nothing. And that's the grief that nobody wants to get to about it, because you weren't fighting the system. You were proving that it could survive you with your own rage. It's true. And I realize in that realization, it hurts more than any oppressor ever could, because it means that the solution is not escalation, it's the withdrawal of belief. So I mean this, I'm going to be so serious with you. This is something harder than violence that I'm talking about. So no violence, no chaos, no performance. People quietly refusing to let their lives be fuel, refusing to treat legitimacy as external, refusing to confuse recognition with work. I just want you to understand, refusing to see the kingdom as external versus internal. You need to organize your being around. You need to organize your being around being instead of around institutions that only know how to manage bodies and reactions, because that's all they know how to do. So there's one thing that I need you to take with you. Do not ask me what to do here. I am going to tell you right now. When you encounter the world, do not let rage drown your clarity. Figure out how to execute this one demand. I will not let this government, not today, not my body, not my relationships, not my sense of self. That is not a retreat. It's a reclamation of self.
When we go to the gym and we work out, it's the resistance, right? It's the resistance that makes us stronger. When we're on the bench press, when we're curling the weights, right, on the free weights, even when we are on the treadmill, it is the resistance that builds us up. What are we resisting? Stopping, giving up, letting that damn bar crush you, right? We're pushing it. We're resisting it. That, in my humble opinion, is what I'm doing with the weight of all of this information, with the weight of all of the revelations, with just the weight of Babylon falling and whatnot. I'm using that weight as a resistance to get stronger. Okay? So the temptations that Babylon has sometimes have of Babylon's temptations that whisper to you, I'm resisting it. Code switching around white folks, I'm resisting it. Being a part of this system and allowing myself to be a D battery, I'm resisting that. Fake motherfuckers around me, I'm resisting that. CIA operatives, I'm resisting that. Being in environments or surroundings that I know I don't belong in, I'm resisting that. Dead weight and people who are hangnails, I'm resisting that. I'm just resisting a lot of things right now. I'm still purging, You feel me? I'm still pushing people away from me. I'm still resisting temptations and shit like that. That is really the only thing that I could do in situations like this, because this shit is falling, bro. It's not building up. It's not getting stronger. I don't know if somebody tells you that, they're a fucking fool. This shit is falling, and it don't need me to stand under it in order to fall. It's falling. It's falling on its own fruition because its time is up and whatnot. And they told me, the master teachers and the ancestors, they told me that this shit was going to fall, and they told me that this time was up. So I'm just participating and watching the fall. I'm really the observer. Not really. I'm reporting on it. I'm reporting on it. I'm accelerating it. You know what I mean? But I'm resisting doing anything to hold it up. Against all odds, I will be penal. Listen, I'm not even gonna speak it into existence. I'm good. I'm fucking Gucci. My ancestors are covering me. The universe is conspiring for our success. Okay? There's nothing to fear but motherfucking fear itself. Okay? So when you walk when this is the path, you know, of least resistance. So no, I'm not going to be a part. I don't want to be signed to the industry. I don't want to be. Shout out to La Russell. The fuck happened, La Russell? You went and signed to Jay-Z, fam? Damn. The timing is not right. I don't want to be. I don't want to be a part of their Hollywood squares. I don't want to sign my whole life away with a contract that's the size of a book. You know, shit like that. Because that's what's fueling the beast. You know, many people are going to still walk into the jaws of Moloch after this. Women are still going to dress their children up and put bows in their heads and send them right into the mouth of Baal. Even after this, go into the industry, daughter. Go into Hollywood. I'm going to ship you away. Good luck. You know what I mean? They're still going to do that. Men and women are still going to send their children to sign away their whole life in perpetuity to get out of the motherfucking projects because poverty is real. That's still going to happen. Nothing is going to change, but you've been warned. The only difference is now you have a fresh, quote unquote, there's a fresh memory as to what the fuck is going to happen to you if you walk into that quote unquote world. Or like when Neo walked into the Matrix and when he walked into the machine. You know what's on the other side of that curtain. You know what it is. Yeah, you're going to be crying like Finesse 2 times. But you've been warned, so you cannot play ignorance of the law is no excuse, right? So if anything, all of these shows that we've been doing for 4 hours and 3 hours and all of these things, I hope it is not a waste of my motherfucking time and energy, because if I could save one person from signing a goddamn godhood away, then my job has been successful. You feel me? That's what this is for. This is for the resistance. This is for the resistance. And I ain't talking about a resistance that's going to put your ass in alligator Alcatraz or in the gulags and whatnot. I'm just talking about a resistance to where you just start focusing on within. We get back to what we know was right. You feel me? We get back to what we know what fed our souls and whatnot. We get back into nature. We could put our hands in the soil like how Blue Pill is doing, right? With the farming and whatnot, and just grow some things. You feel me? We could be gardeners. Because the earth needs us more than anything else right now. Pachamama. You see the floods. You see what nature's doing. You see all of these lands flooding and whatnot. I'm talking about biblical storms. You see this shit fucking working. We don't have to. I'm not going to get on this platform and incriminate or put myself out there and whatnot in the spirit realm, because that's not how I do my work. I'm a fucking Scorpion. We don't do it like that. But you see it. If you know what you're looking at, then you see it. So just keep doing what the fuck you doing. Stay true to yourself. When you stay true to yourself, because all is mental, this is your universe. when you realign and when you stay true to yourself and when you focus on healing and whatnot, this motherfucking world is going to heal. So I'm just saying, if this is not going to push you to healing, then we got to have another conversation because we don't know what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But this should be enough signs to say, yeah, man, I got to work on some shit that I need to get through, because this is sinister when you fall into the sunken place. You know, now they turn the lights on to show you what's at the bottom of the barrel, what's at the bottom of these quote unquote dungeons and whatnot. They're just giving you a glimpse as to what will happen if your ass falls off the edge, right? What's waiting for you at the bottom of that den of vipers and whatnot. They got names now. They got names. They got faces. Okay? I'm just saying.
That is the snap. That's the bone going back in where it always belonged, because it's a painful kind of hope. It is. It doesn't promise you any comfort. Violence promises you comfort. I want you to understand it. We need to return your life back to you instead of it being external. Because once enough people live from internal, not loudly, not violently, but coherently, the system doesn't fall in flames. It starves, and starvation is the only thing that was never meant to survive. So I need you to understand this one command. I will not let this govern me. You need to figure out the will to execute that. That's all it is. That's all I can tell you. So, hopefully this helped you understand the situation. It's been pissed. Just what? Not even like, it's like the situation, the system been the same my whole life. But to talk about anger like it hasn't been processing anger throughout all of history. Like anger is just going to be the one to cut it. If anger was the thing to catch it, then I think slaves would have been free on day one. If anger was enough to stop it, then I don't think women would have ever been oppressed. I'm trying to keep your head centered, man. I just see it too much.
Don't crash out. Don't go angry. Don't feel like I gotta give up. Like I'm not co-signing none of those messages. You know what I mean? All of that anger. And the announcement that I want to make is that this lecture, When in Rome, The Edge of Apocalypse, I'm pushing it back to the end of the month, ladies and gentlemen, to Sunday, February the 28th. Okay. We are pushing the lecture to the 28th. All right. I hope that I don't interrupt anybody's plans for the strong end, but I do have something that popped up in emergency that I have to take care of this strong end, and I'm not going to be able to do the lecture. So we have to reschedule it to the end of the month. All right. So I'm just putting that out there. The When in Rome series that me and Blue have been doing for years now. Let me remind you of something, right? Let me just show you how we do this thing, how on time we are. Let me just share something with you, right? So we know that this ain't just some random shit that we just popped up with. Facebook reminded me, right? When in Rome 3 years ago, right? When the lightning struck the motherfucking Jesus, right? When in Rome, okay? 3, right? That was February the 13th, 2023. Okay? When in Rome, right? This is a series that we do in the beginning of this fiscal year. We do this like clockwork. This is our ritual. This is a part of our ritual and whatnot. Okay? We did it last year in New Orleans, right? When in Rome, we did it in New Orleans the same time, February the 12th, 2025, right? In the month of February, we've been doing this. Okay? So we're keeping up with tradition, and we're going to still do it, and we're going to get it out there, and we're going to keep up to what it is that we've been doing. Okay? So, yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. All right? I just wanted to put that out there. You know, we're staying on brand. So When in Rome is on its way. It will be here at the end of the month. The Fire Horse at the Edge of the Apocalypse. Leading up to that, I don't know how many 3-hour shows that I'm going to be doing. If I take a break, then I'll be back on the 28th. I'm just putting it at, if you don't see me up here, That means that I'm taking a break and I'm good, but I'll be in the lab studying, putting this thing together, and I will see you on that date. Okay, that's for my Patreons and my KTLians who support the things that we do. For anybody else that don't support, then this is not for you. You know what I mean? But I'm gonna just take you down a trip down memory lane. I love Facebook because they keep reminding me of the greatness of what it is that, you know, just the greatness. So this is another one from 10 years ago. Shout out to my good brother Wesley Muhammad. Shout out Sharif. All right. Look how young Sharif looked back. Look how young all of us look back then. This was back in 2016 in Harlem. You feel me? We was doing the damn thing and whatnot. You feel me? Shout out to everybody that pulled up. You dig? Yeah. That was powerful. That was powerful. You know what I'm saying? Let me see. Where's another one? Another reminder, a little flashback and whatnot. Shout out to Facebook with the flashbacks. Okay. Matter of fact, let's go. Let's get a little clip from the one that we did last year. Let's just pull a little clip up from the When in Rome series and whatnot. Check this out.
Has 364 days with a 0 day. That 0 day is July 25th. That's the day that it's an X day. It means anything can happen. It's like Uranus, the planet. It's unexpected things happen on that day. So Pope Francis went to Canada on that day to forgive, you know, on behalf of the Vatican, to apologize for the First Nation people because they had killed millions of their people, of their children, in what's called mission schools, converting them into.
So right after that, Pope Francis made his transition. Blue Pill somewhat called it. He had foresight as to what was taking place, and then Pope Francis, you know, and this is you don't see this in the Catholics. You know, you don't see popes dying on the throne, but yeah, that's what happened, and he explained why it happened.
That next to what you consider to be holy. So they, again, people is playing in our face, just like MAGA. Okay? MAGA is what? It's the 5th and highest degree in the hierarchy in the Church of Satan. I didn't make it up. That's what it means. You can Google it.
MAGA is the 5th and highest degree in the Church of Satan. MAGA. And not that Satan that Bobby was telling us about. The real, the not that Baphomet that he was talking about either. We talking about Moloch and Baal, right? Let's be clear.
People is playing in our face, just like MAGA. Okay? MAGA is what? It's the 5th and highest degree in the hierarchy in the Church of Satan. I didn't make it up. That's what it means. You can Google it. You can also Google what the meaning of MAGA is in all of these different languages. Again, we did not make this up. You can Google it. So what does MAGA really mean? In Latin, it means magic, magical witch. And
so if they got everybody saying, you know, MAGA this, MAGA that, and all of that MAGA talk, and then somehow, some way, it feels like the world, right, is somewhat underneath a spell. Right? Like there's a spell going on where people are willfully ignorant. People are somewhat under a spell. Like they're just like brain dead. They're like something is going on, to whereas the average person is quote unquote in a brain fog. Like, you know, they're saying shit and doing things that they've never done before. They're moving in ways that they haven't, they moving wacky and whatnot. Unlike anything that you've probably seen. Yeah, we have to understand the psychological operations of this Trump administration and the fact that this MAGA shit is real and people are literally being put under a spell. So 15 years ago, right, to the day, we came in Harlem and we laid out. Oh no, we went to Philadelphia, as a matter of fact, and we laid out a monumental presentation. Okay, 2015. Right, so we've been standing on this shit in February, where we teaching the shit that we teaching right now about the things that we teaching that are in the news right now, because everything that you see going on, even with Epstein, in the way that he was talking about Islam in his quote unquote emails, he was acknowledging the age-long discrepancy that they have with the Moors and whatnot, or what they would call the Muslims or the Muslims and shit like that. You feel me? So we were covering all of this, going all the way back into 2015, right? We the people versus the Christian Crusader inquisitors of the unholy Roman Empire, right? So we were talking about the Moors in antiquity, the rise of Islam in the Iberian Peninsula, the contribution of the Moors, the Dark Ages, the Age of Enlightenment, the Age of Discovery, the Reconquista of Europe, the scourge of Christendom, the fall of the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths, and the Vandals, the most important wars / battles fought between 711 and 1492. These are wars that they don't teach you in school. They don't talk about these wars, but these wars were wild significant. The 4 major Moorish dynasties, the Hebrew and Moorish influence in Europe, the Hebrew and Moorish fall in Europe, the mass capitulation of Moors and Jews, the 700 plus reign of the Inquisition, the rise of the Jesuits, the rise of the Freemasons, the rise of the Illuminati, the papal bulls that destroyed the world, the popes who declared world war, the rise of racism and white supremacy, in that order. In that order. Because they don't precede each other. Okay? They don't precede each other. This shit is a motherfucking timeline. Right? These are timelines that we're looking at. Okay? Cause and effect. You people lose one war and that leads to losing other wars. You lose one thing, you're going to lose more things. Okay? Then the next day, because I was doing the 2-for-1, the next day in Philadelphia at Black and Nobel, we did the evolution will be digitized. This is when nobody in the community was talking about anything fucking digital. I didn't know none of you niggas. Nobody was talking this shit. And I was getting heavy pushback. Super pushback. People was like, nah, they want to hear about the Kemet on trial and the Moors and the Hebrews and I'm like, good. I'm gonna teach history, but I'm also gonna teach the future. I'm gonna keep well balanced. I want to come back to reality. I want to come back to the now. I don't want to stay in history. I don't want to stay in the past. Now, when you look at some of the people who decided that they just wanted to stay in the past, something happened and they got stuck in the past. Because when you talk to them now about the now, or yo, what's going on now? They either they're nowhere to be found. Yo, where's this milk cartons all over Harlem? Where's this person at? I don't know. Niggas is in the 1400s fighting their way out the Inquisition. Right? So what was we teaching? The pros and the cons of technology, because it's two sides to every coin. It's not just a pro thing. It's not just a pro thing. It's a pro and a con. It's a positive and a negative. You feel me? We were speaking on that. The history of modern day technology, the history of algorithms, giving ourselves credit, the history of binary codes, going into Robert E. Glass, going into West Africa, breaking that shit down, computer language versus your language, definitions of entrepreneur. Niggas didn't even know how to spell entrepreneur. Nobody was talking about entrepreneurism, technopreneur, serial entrepreneur, infopreneurs, startups, accelerators, incubators, workspace versus 9-to-5, startup communities, social entrepreneurship, venture capitalism, angel investment, Silicon Valley versus Silicon Alley. How many people have ever heard about Silicon Alley? That's in New York City. That's when they had Foursquare and what what's that other one? They had all of these things building up in Manhattan, but when they wanted to make it like Silicon Valley, peer-to-peer economy, network economy, social networking, network marketing, affiliate marketing, internet marketing. Huh? Damn near 10, that was more than 10 years ago. You know? More than 10 years ago. So these things have been in this community and people have benefited from it. Businesses and all type of lives have changed. Businesses have launched all type of shit, brands, products. You welcome. You welcome. Motherfuckers will spit on your name and try to tear your ass down. But if you do that, please speak of the contributions as well. Talk about this. Talk about how you got fed when nobody was feeding your ass. Talk about that part. Talk about niggas pulling you up out of poverty. Talk about that first. Shout out to Soul Messiah. Shout out to Sarok. Shout out to the Ghetto Shaman. This is a name that's not mentioned enough. This brother was wild instrumental in launching the careers of a whole bunch of people music-wise. He was the producer behind Batman Mafia, A.A. Rashid's first mixtape that got him out there. He believed in me and Blue, flew us to Atlanta and helped work on the KTL mixtape back in 2009. When I didn't even believe in myself like that. You know what I'm talking about? I didn't even know I had it. And he saw something and he believed in us. You know, it didn't just start there. He was in New York getting, you know, because it's not easy to get the greatness out of a person. You gotta be patient with people, but you also gotta speak life into them, and you have to show them what you see in them, not just talking about it. He would just press record and put the beat on and be like, go in. You feel me? I wasn't no fucking rapper, nigga. I was a teacher. I was teaching. And back then, this is 09. I'm still trying to get my feet in the ground for teaching. But I'm an artist, always been, always will be. So the poetry was there, the bars was there. I just didn't have the confidence to put it on wax. And the brother Mac Truck Turner was before, Turtle Gang, Shaman. There was a few people that was responsible for that. Yeah, shout out to Black and Nobel, Hakeem. You know what I mean? The brother, he was the mayor of Philly when we was out there. The mayor of Philly when we was out there. Held it down from day one. Always been a stand-up brother from day uno, right? Was holding down big business and whatnot in Philadelphia. Had people's books. You know what I'm talking about? Had people's all kind of things. He was carrying DVDs. He was carrying books. He was carrying albums, mixtapes, you name it. Shout out to this brother. I believe he's on Main Street now. Black and Nobel. Just taking y'all a little bit down. It's Thursday, so you know, throwback Thursdays, memory lane and whatnot. Memory lane. Okay. And then fast forward, we get this, right? This brother, somebody did put this together. You know what I'm talking about? Paying homage to the gods. You know how good that feels? To have somebody put art together, put art together. Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. You had people in my comments being mad and shit like, yo, this and this and that. Trying to critique the teachers and whatnot when it's like, nah, nigga, why you mad because nobody want to draw you? You mad because nobody want to highlight you? You know what I mean? Don't start throwing dirt on other teachers' names and whatnot. stand on your business. You know what I mean? Get recognized from your work. I know that it creates jealousy and envy and all type of weird attributes and the girl come out of niggas. But nah, man. Salute to the artists who put this together. You had somebody in my, oh, that's AI. And nigga, what the fuck? God damn. Y'all complain about everything. You niggas complain about everything. You just can't take one moment to appreciate nothing. God damn. Yeah, this shit is fire. I didn't do it. Someone out there did this. They called it Black History and Black Now. That's what they said. So I salute that and I concur. You got Shahrazad Ali. That's Phil Valentine holding the crystal. That's Billy Carson with the astronaut on. That's Red and Blue in the Red and Blue. That's Umar. I believe that's Claude Anderson. That's Farrakhan. That's 19 Keys with the 19 on them. And the brother in the, I think with the brother with the, that might be Abdullah Mosley Bey with the fez on, if I'm correct. I could be, I don't know. Where's Bobby? Bro, I have no idea. There might be Bobby. I don't know. I don't know. There's Dr. Sabi. There's Nipsey. There's Elijah. There's Fred Hampton. There's Marcus. There's Malcolm, MLK, Booker T. You know what I mean? And Mandela. Like, y'all niggas get mad if you want. Don't talk about what the fuck. This is weird. And the brother who did it, Neo Carter, he said that he has more coming. You feel me? And I will make sure when I inbox him, I give him some names that I feel that he should be putting on the next poster. But I will never control how a man thinks, especially when they're in their creative mind, because I don't manage him. If I was his manager, it'd be different. But I'm not managing nobody's pen game. I'm not going to manage how somebody decides that they want to big up somebody. You know what I mean? Because y'all be surprised who influences who. Like, some people get influenced by these teachers and whatnot. And, you know, they might not deal with the controversy. They might, you know, they might be like, look, this person woke me up, saved my life, got me on the right path, and I'm paying homage. What you gonna say about that? What I gotta say about that? What you feel like? You think I'm gonna step in the way of that? You think I'm gonna try to stop that? You think I'm gonna pour salt on somebody if someone is bigging them up? I can't do that. You know, I wouldn't do that. So salute to the brother for paying, for saluting his teachers, the people that he sees as Black history. And yeah, we're going to keep it moving.
Every time I do, there's a bunch of dudes in my... I've been saying for years that the Call of Duty games are basically a US government psyop. And every time I do, there's a bunch of dudes in my comments like, it's not that deep, bro. Just let people have fun, bro. But now we have leaked emails between the creators of Call of Duty and one Jeffrey Epstein. And in these emails, the president of Activision says, I am all for indoctrinating kids, before Epstein goes on to tell him that he should start filling his games with microtransactions, which they did that very same year. And people are now saying, oh my goodness, all of the conspiracies are coming true. But this wasn't hidden. I've been trying to tell you guys this. The U.S. State Department and intelligence agencies have been heavily involved with the creation of these games from the beginning. And that's because they are a very powerful tool for indoctrinating children.
So remember when Dr. Neely Fuller talked about all of the quote unquote 9 different categories that this quote unquote white supremacy, as he coins it, how it exists or where it exists. Remember that? So they've infiltrated these different, what you would call niches, or they've infiltrated into all of these different quote unquote genres. And they've planted their seeds and they've planted their operatives and they've used their money and their influence, right, to buy themselves, to buy themselves in. Okay. The 9 areas of people activity, right? It's real, because you have the 7 hills when it comes to the evangelicals and whatnot. They have a similar type of thing that they call the 7 hills that they infiltrate, right? So for his students and for Dr. Francis Cress Welson's students out there, I am looking forward to y'all to continue to carry on their works, to keep their works alive, to add on to their works without diluting it and whatnot, to turn their works into some type of study courses and curriculums and documentaries or docuseries. Yeah, the people would definitely benefit from that.
Their own president said himself. A lot of people, and especially kids, don't ever really take the time to deeply study geopolitics. So a lot of their ideas about the world are absorbed passively through the entertainment media. In these games, the basic message is that America good and all of America's enemies bad. You can bury your head in the sand and ignore that if you want, but that just makes you easier to control. It makes you more of a sheep. Most of these games aren't even good anyways. Why don't you play something that's actually fun like The Witcher 3? I'm an RPG guy. I've never been a fan of these first-person shooters.
So yeah, they're in the Jeffrey was in the video game world. He was in the gamer world amongst the gamers. Okay. Yeah. Let's go.
There's reality that we experience and there's reality that we hear about. And so much of the reality that's been force-fed to us for the entirety of our lives has been nothing more than social engineering and psychological warfare. I think this is hard for people to kind of comprehend, but as the collective consciousness is trying to process all of this information contained within the files, is trying to process what's happening in this country and the world at large, it's important to understand that most of what we know has been a carefully curated narrative that's basically brainwashed all of us into believing we live in a world that we never really lived in. You know, the depravity and the inhumanity detailed in these files is actually nothing new, not to our culture, not to most cultures. When I think of slavery, when I think of Native American genocide, when I think of the things that have been ongoing in this society, living parallel to the psyop of American exceptionalism, it all begins to make sense, that we simply don't know what we don't know. And the human mind thinks in narratives. And we've been given a narrative that's been spoon-fed to us by a ruling class that has transcended generations, it's transcended nations, it's transcended cultures. And when I think really about what we're reading in the files, it's the global deep state, right? It's one component of what Sarah Kendzior has been talking about for a long time, this kind of transnational global crime syndicate that's been operating behind the scenes. Jeffrey,
we call it the rat line. We call it the rat line. George Webb is an investigator that I had the opportunity of tapping into a very long time ago. We talking like 2012. And he was using that word, the rat line, and it turned into what they call the deep state. But he broke it down and he was explaining the rat line to he used to have graphs, details. He had a blog and whatnot. This is early YouTube days before the censorship.
Epstein seems to be a nexus between the technology, politics, finance, all of these different sectors of society that have been shaping world events forever. And so it's important to kind of understand that what's happening is the collective consciousness is being kind of fucked with a little bit, right? That we're seeing through a lot of the distortions and a lot of the illusions that have organized our understanding of reality. So, you know, be easy on yourself, because the individual consciousness, the individual mind is being overloaded. They're flooding the zone with all of this stuff. It's not just the abuse of what's contained within the files. It's the way it's being released. It's this feeling of helplessness, this feeling of a lack of accountability. But one of the distortions that we're cutting through is that these systems of power have been designed to protect the powerful, not hold them accountable. And this is what we're trying to change.
So what he's speaking about, this helplessness and all of that, I don't, he got to speak for himself. I would say that the majority of what they call the 85ers, and that's no disrespect in terms of the terminology being used, but the 85ers are feeling the brunt of this red pill moment because they refuse to open up their eyes on some birdwatch shit. They have refused to listen to you and I. They fought us through tooth and nail. They stuck towards their quote unquote men of the cloth, even knowing what the men of the cloth were responsible for. You don't have to be, even in elementary school, they teach you that the men of the cloth was responsible for genocide and all of the ills of this planet and shit like that. So yeah, the 85ers are getting their wake-up call. The people who've been screaming from the mountaintop, the people who actually gathered on the mountaintop and whatnot. Yeah, we would, the next time we gather on the mountaintop, let's gather on the mountaintop and never leave that mountaintop. Or let's gather on the mountaintop, get ourselves on a coach bus or a sprinter and go to some land that we collectively purchased. That's the next move in lieu of what the fuck is going on, because this is the chessboard and moves are being made and whatnot. So the $1 million question is, what moves are we making to counter the moves that these people are making? Because I don't want to exist in a society amongst these people, these brain dead fucking zombies and all of their quote unquote handlers. Okay. So nothing is stopping us from meeting on a goddamn mountaintop with some motherfucking deeds in our hands and a few $1,000s in our bags or our book bags and our purses and our goddamn pockets and whatnot, going on 40 acres that we all purchased, and we got the deed and nobody could come and scare us. We got blickies, we got security, we got private military contractors working with us, we got drones. And we could go somewhere, set up some goddamn tents, some hammocks, or some prefab homes, some tiny homes, whatever it is. Whatever it is. Nothing should be stopping us. I was in South America. Them people are living in cinder block homes with 10 roofs and they're chilling. Okay? Out the fucking way, chilling. Riding motorbikes up and down a fucking mountain, you dig? With the babies on the motorbikes. What's our excuse?
I've come to believe to be true, and that the number one problem facing humanity is actually pathological narcissism. That all of humanity, all of human systems, all of human behavior is rooted in human pathology. And the pathology of narcissism, a pathology that can't see outside its own narrow and distorted subjective perspective, one that thinks their entire subjective understanding of the world is the one true perspective, that attacks any other perspective, that feels threatened by it, that lashes out when faced with accountability. This is the problem. We have narcissistic individuals upholding narcissistic structures.
So if anybody's dealt with narcissists in their lives, gaslighters, manipulators, to look for justice, to look for solutions, to look for, I don't know what you're gonna find. It's very difficult to hold a rat in the corner. You can't necessarily corner a rat. They'll bite their way through. Scorpions kill themselves when they're cornered. Like, you're not gonna get what you want by trying. You can't shame these people into feeling bad. They're narcissists. They're literally feeding off of tears. They're literally feeding off of people's anxiety and them lashing out. That is a fuel for them. They're energy harvesting. Henceforth, while we do these shows and we're not out here screaming and yelling and we're not in the chat emoting and things of that nature. We're doing a precision autopsy. Okay? The body has fallen. This is an autopsy. All we're doing is showing you where it got killed. Where did it get hit? That's it. No emotions. We're not putting no type of energy into this shit. We're observing the body, the great fall. This is an autopsy, ladies and gentlemen. You know what I mean? And the justice that we're looking for, oh, believe you me, it's coming. They gonna get their day. But this whole situation should be a mirror for people that are even sliding down a narcissistic slope. You might live amongst narcissists. The children are turning into narcissists because of TikTok, social media, and them fucking phones and whatnot. So this should be a wake-up call to pull back if you're slipping down the slope, to pull back to get us out of this motherfucking slope, because the sunken place, you might not be able to crawl back up from it. Nobody is going to judge you. Society, this president, this administration has, like Blue Pill explains, whoever sits in the Oval Office, that energy, that frequency kind of envelopes the whole goddamn nation. So because we sat through these Trump presidencies and whatnot, and we giggled and we chuckled when he was doing his narcissistic 1-2 and whatnot, sometimes that affects us mentally, but it is time where we can snap the fuck out of it. So this is an awareness campaign. You feel me? Because this narcissistic pathology shit is real. Okay. So we don't want to fall into that.
And all of these structures and these individuals are in collapse. And to understand narcissism is to understand that narcissistic collapse makes the narcissist more dangerous, not less dangerous. A friend of mine recently said, accountability is annihilation to a narcissist. And when faced with annihilation, right, the annihilation of their grandiose false self, which makes them look into the emptiness at their core, they will tear the entire fucking world down before facing that emptiness. There is no accountability for people like this. It's impossible to get them to take responsibility because their entire pathology, their entire psychological structure is modeled so that they cannot look inward. They do not have a sense of self to hold responsibility, to hold their emotions, to hold anything. Everything about them must be displaced. Everything truly about them, about their truly empty core, about their true lack of self, has to be displaced onto the people around them. This is why they say every accusation is a confession. It's pathological. It's compulsive. It looks like strategy. It's not. It is a pathology. And so we have to really understand the danger we're in right now. This doesn't mean letting them off the hook. It doesn't mean minimizing like the reality of what we're dealing with. It's that we're dealing with a mass psychological problem. And the way that Donald Trump's narcissism, right, has infected our culture, it has enabled and elevated the cultural narcissism that was already there in nationalism, in colonialism, in racism. It has unleashed this malignant form of narcissism on all of us. And we have to begin understanding this and continue speaking the truth, continue calling it out, right? And continue fucking laughing at these fucking weirdos. Like, what the fuck did we just watch with Pam Bondi? She is a fucking monstrous human being.
Tell him, Jim. God damn it. Tell him. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it on that note. I'm gonna leave it on that note. I think we've made our case. We presented our evidence. For anybody that's still running around and holding up Donald Trump, right? Give him that sticker right there. Okay? Give him that sticker right there. There's no way to justify somebody's name who is in the files damn near thousands upon thousands of times. I don't want to hear it. I don't even have the patience to hear no shit like that. Get that Bad Bunny shit out of here. Pack that shit the fuck up. I don't want to hear about that. I don't want to hear nothing about that. I don't want to hear about Lady Gaga or Ricky Martin. I don't want to hear nothing about none of these people, y'all. You know what I mean? The era of worshiping celebrities is over. Look at fucking Tony Yayo and Uncle Murder with Ja Rule on a plane. Pure nigga shit. Embarrassments. You know what I'm talking about? Embarrassments. And We're going to deal with this the next show. Not today, the next time around. We're going to talk about the Unabomber, and how this nigga was bombing motherfucking pedophiles and whatnot. And they went ahead and turned him into a villain. But the Unabomber was chasing down pedos, right? So once again, the white rage that you niggas is the only thing that I'm looking for, because somebody said in my comments before, yo, the PDFs, they killed a bunch of good people trying to expose them like Anthony Bourdain. Well, nigga, y'all white people listen to King Von. Y'all know what the fuck, y'all know how to spin the block. You didn't love him that much. You could miss me with all of that stupid ass shit. I'm not here for the trauma bondy. You didn't love them that much. You didn't spin the block. So if PDFs are out here knocking people off and you niggas ain't knocking them off, then miss me with all of that fake ass. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Like, what do you mean? Like, what the fuck? You know what to do. Nigga, they knocking yours off. You supposed to even the score. Okay? Bro. We both listen to Chief Keef together. We know what it is. So cut the bullshit out. We're not going for it. No way. We are not going for it. If y'all niggas is not going to go ahead and ride out, then have a fucking seat. With that being said, we're going to end this one with the Prince 10-year anniversary of Scorpion King. Look out for that vinyl. Look out for new music. Peace, love, and light. Y'all stay dangerous. Remember, we are rescheduling this event to the 28th. So y'all got time to get your tickets, and we're going to let this shit marinate. I promise you the whole world is probably going to be different by the end of this motherfucking month. You know what I'm talking about? We waiting for that fire horse to come in. That's what it is. We waiting for that fire horse to arrive. Then we really finna cook. All right? Red and blue, purple like Prince. Peace, love, and light.
Bro, he's the master of his masters. I can do business with you, right? Master's talking to a master, now the master talking to a slave, a sovereign. I'ma license you my materials. You don't own my materials anymore. But I'ma take the big chunk over here to the homie. That's why I have no issue with people calling him a master mason. You damn right, he's the master of his catalog. He's the master of his words. He's the master of his archive. You feel me? He's the master of the ceremony. Right? Very few artists have been able to achieve this. But the ones that have, we've seen his demise.
I'm on 100%.
100.
Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The Netheroo circle the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the Benz. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 We feeling the urge, feeling the purge. Buzzers electric, we feeling the surge. Feeling the words, killing the birds with immunity. Pillars of unity. This is the formula of Voltron. This is the age of the Ultron. This is same stage as the Pope on. This is the sage you can smoke on. Copper pound, came on the scene, I was copper down. All I was missing was copper crown. Summer 16, I turned copper brown. Look for revenge in the copper town. Capping New Jersey and copper crown. 21 guns, salute jumper sound. My power pieces, the crystals be talking, the cloth that be talking. King County clothing, yeah, king of New York, and I'm Christopher Walken, the missiles embarking. Pistols be talking, 21 hammers with country, the grammar, the broken, the English. I'm on 100%. 100. Red and blue, purple like Prince. Red and blue, purple the Benz. Change up the circle of friends. The Netheroo circle the twins. 75 ever since. 70 wives in the Benz. Red and blue, purple like Prince. 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 Red and blue, purple like Prince.
Charges of federal, orders incredible, markers indelible, sparkers immeasurable. Sparking the medical, parkers on pedestal, sharks for that revenue, hawks for what's settable. Heart full of vegetables, art at the festivals, heart no cholesterol, sharp on those episodes. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens. I need 100%. Go independent like Prince. I'm on 100%. I like when summer begins. I need my hundreds and tens.
I need 100%. Hot like when summer begins. Whoa.